What kind of pie?
Okay, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or your regional equivalent. And if you want to know who's asking about pie, don't worry about it, we'll deal with that later. Um, of course, this is Swin, this is the Forever Cold War, and this is, of course, good old deep stick A102, working away to find the LSN's secondary command center deep in Zone 4 Larentia in LSN space. So, okay, last time we left off, everyone had basically had their first. We've all had our first mission. We found Deep A71, their ship shot to pieces by Galzion, and also being scavenged by scavengers who we said hello to. Luckily, didn't have a fight with. Managed to get some nice salvage off the ship, do other things, and generally got a bit of information maybe as to where A71 had gone to from A43, who of course were the first guys you met, the other rebel stick. From
So
there, yes, Abstruse?
about that ship.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. I don't know what else to catch up. Go watch the old videos, I guess. I haven't uploaded any of them yet, so this is dating the video, but it's because I want to edit them all and make them, I don't know. Uh,
It's almost like Labs never uploads anything ever, and I've uploaded more than him in just the latest month than he has. I think like for half of this year.
Jonas puts out 2 videos, immediately has defeated
three.
me. 3? Oh, life. Never mind. Okay.
I think I'll just record this one and
Abstruse will also upload it faster than me. Yes, well, this is what I get for trying to do editing. So anyway, that's for another time. Anyway, so okay, guys, welcome back. Okay, so there's some other stuff we have to deal with, but otherwise, yeah, cool. Get into it. So I've given you a star map, not a star map, a zone map, so that you can actually see where you are and where everything else is. So you're all, of course, at A102. But you started off over here at T00, or 2 if you want. It's where A71's derelict ship is. I also mark it off in little names of where things are. And you also get to know...
Wait, Labs. So the LSN data interception is at Toot.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I'm
Okay.
sorry, but I
Just
had
Jonas
to.
to see it.
Oh,
I had to.
I love it. It's great. No, I'm happy. I'm happy. Yes, so the LSN data interception is at Toot. Is at 2-2. So that's great. Also, you get to see where Wallen is, and where RO40 is, and where S12 is, which is Starship Forsdale, which will move on its own accord sometimes. And anyone else that you have current data on, but currently no one else. You don't really know about anything else. But stuff will come up as you get it, and there's some like rough ideas of where maybe those other white dots are just kind of where civilian places are that you can go to buy stuff if you want to. But otherwise, more information will pop over time. Oh, also, you know where the LSN zone station roughly is. This is the zone command center. This isn't the place you're hunting for, but one day you might want to raid it and see what you can get off of it. You know, but
See if that has the intel we need, because
Yeah.
I
There's a
would be
point
surprised
in
if it
construction.
does, all things considered.
Sorry, Jonas?
I would be surprised if that has the intel we need, to be honest.
Yeah, it might be quite useful. Sorry, Oddy, you were trying to say.
The point is in construction there.
What? Oh, what? Oddy? Speak up. Why are you so
The
quiet?
pointer class is in construction.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes, yeah, that's absolutely. No.
uh,
Yeah?
how does you sizes work again? Zones, locales, and what's
So,
the order?
so it goes, so here, let me type it out for you. It goes zones, then it goes sectors, then it goes regions, then it goes locales. And basically there's 9 zones in a sector, 9 sectors in a zone, 9 zones in a sector, 9 sectors in a region, 9 regions in a locale, and there are 81 locales throughout the galaxy in total. So they're all kind of like chopped up into little segments. They're not really strict boundaries, they're just kind of where stuff is roughly. It's just like GPS coordinates almost. It's useful. But once you're within a zone, you rely on basically mathematical formulas for the different stars and where they are at this current time and other things, which are referred to as ATs, and they can be like at 8432, and that will be like a specific formulaic code which will spit out wherever that star is, probably at this per moment in time. And that's like how you navigate around the galaxy. It's interesting. Maybe it's not foolproof, but I have fun with it. So that's kind of where you guys are. You're in Zone 4, Laurentia, and Laurentia zones have like thousands of stars in them. They're huge areas of space, even though they are also the smallest area of order. So that's kind of how that works. Yeah.
How does a zone station compare to a sector station?
They're basically a bit smaller, but generally they do a lot more of closer, like per planet help. They actually kind of do more work. Sector stations are more like administrative hubs for zone stations, and region stations are administrative hubs for sector stations, and it kind of goes up like that. So zone stations are the ones that actually do work. Sectors.
And let's be fair here, there's only one thing that could really be even semi-counted as a low cell station. The Galaxy Hub, obviously.
Yeah, to enable a Galaxy Hub is like a nice representation of a enormous.
Of a low
Oh
cell
yeah,
station
what a low cellular station perhaps should be. Yeah, to enable is huge.
Because
So
otherwise, I don't think those exist.
Nah,
So low cell stations are in
Not-
existence.
yeah, not at that scale. They're like smaller. They're almost basically just region stations, kind of as the big as it gets. So generally, the sector stations. So zone stations deal with the people and the planets in that zone. Sector stations generally deal with kind of doling out logistics and military forces, and they do more that sort of higher level stuff, where they have to deal with actual military forces. Regions do even more of that. They actually divvy out the primary military forces. And then low cells are basically kind of like, they make sure everyone's doing kind of the right thing, maybe. And they all have like interconnecting authority things with each other.
They
It's kind of
try
funny.
in most cases. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem to go, all things considered.
It didn't go well in Extra Vexor. Extra Vexor went very badly, but that's just Extra Vexor. We'll leave Extra Vexor to its own hilarious self. So okay, guys. So you guys have gone on a little journey from T00, which is where you started.
First things first, checking the data stuff for what S17 is.
Right. Okay. So let me actually take you to your ship.
Extra Vexta was where Turnablar started, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's where the GCD took over because there was a low cellular admiral that was a bit too reliant on paramilitary.
I
like,
mean, Labs,
forces.
I would argue that the core CC territories also did that happen.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes. No, you win there. But in terms of like a more recent one, I guess Tenebris's a nice one. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking more recent. I'm not. For some reason, I wasn't thinking of. Yes. No. The moment I think of ZZ, it's like no. Of course. Absolutely. That's perfect. It's like I wasn't thinking of ZZ.
It's
Okay.
almost like I remember Labs' universe better than he does.
Some days. Okay. All right. You're all back on the ship. So also, since last time, since you guys had
this
like.
is the wrong
Oh my
ship.
life! It's the wrong ship. I'm sorry.
I just
Damn it.
immediately see doors broken up and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, the wrong ship. Sorry, I should probably archive that. I should go hide it away. Let me hide it away so I don't make that mistake again. There we go. Okay, nice. Okay, so here you guys are back on your rebel ship. You'll notice a few things. During the interlude, I've made some adjustments to the map. So now the primary airlock has been rerouted. We can block off this doorway if you want to, but the bottom doorway is blocked off, the bottom access is blocked off with pretty heavy steel. The secondary airlock has been completely sealed. It's now a nice storage room.
Yeah, I made some additional comments in white text,
Okay, cool.
just for the record.
Yeah, agreed, and make it too easy to blow through the wall. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Also, Armory and Mess Conference has been expanded, as well as Cargo. I expanded Cargo a bit because I actually made it too small. I'm sorry. So now it's a little bit more reasonably sized for a ship like this. So now it's nice, better. Also, not sure what else to point out. Yeah, so to change the airlock, and then Armory Mess is now a bit bigger. It exposed a little bit of machinery of like ship internals when you moved the hull, but it's fine. You shouldn't have a problem with that. And otherwise, yeah. Does anyone else want to say anything that I'm forgetting? No? Okay. All right. Let's go to the database.
71.
Yeah, we'll deal with what about A71? Oh, there's the ship. Yeah, we'll get to that. So, Jonas, guys, if you open up Deep A102 data repository.
S17.
Yeah, S17.
That's
So-
literally what I was saying we were doing.
Yeah. So, okay, Deep A102 data repository, you enter S17 and then the query hash code into the input area. Hit enter and it returns you Starship Holgraven data file. So Starship Holgraven, if I can now go show it to players. Where did I put it? Starship Holgraven. So, here you go. So, Starship Holgraven. Sorry, I don't have an image for it. I meant to, but I didn't get around to it. So, current operation. Not hunting for Rebel Stick. It is currently active in the zone of space.
It's
is
just a kind.
It's an LSN Mark 1-2 Kind Class Dalvon Holgraven. Is one of many LSN Protectorate Defense Forces tasked with protecting worlds. The Dalvon is a versatile 100-meter long LSN defense patrol craft, often used by Protectorate forces. So it would seem that A71 managed to accidentally get their paths crossed with a Protectorate defense corvette.
You say accidentally when they had a stand in them. I wouldn't count that.
Sorry,
as
not
accidental.
accidental. Yes, it was not accidental. I've actually, yes, I don't know why I said that. They got crossed with a patrol craft and with a corvette and got a little bit hurt. So that's S17. S12 is of course Starship Forcedale. Okay.
17, I think we might actually, like, if we take him in a straight fight, I think we might well be able to beat him in
Yeah.
a straight fight. Forestdale. No.
I mean, your ship is nearly 100 meters long, so you're actually pretty
Yeah.
much as big as the thing. And
Yeah, like, we're a Kent class as well, so yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm saying we could probably take them.
No, I get you.
But the Forestdale, no.
No, it's not possible.
It's not even considering that one.
Unless Super Busy gets an air exchanger, that's not possible.
My goodness. Have you actually did you upload that one yet or not? Or do I still have to do it?
Wait, which one?
The one where Super Busy somehow rolls like... Well, not somehow. He rolls nat 12s all the time, and he managed to turn like an air exchanger into a rocket launcher because he could and it was
That's been
training.
uploaded for like 2 to 4 weeks.
Perfect. I don't have to do it. Okay, no, it's fine. Yeah, so, yes, unless Super Busy gets his hand on air exchange. It still makes me laugh. Yes, so, yeah. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I think that's it.
Labs.
Yes, Super Busy.
Can I point one thing out with that rocket launcher thing?
Yeah.
My original intention was just to slightly modify my gun. Then you gave me a rocket launcher.
It's because you rolled a 12 and it was like 12 at night and I wanted to finish the training. I wanted it over with. Oh, shame.
Yeah, I also drank like 6 pseudo-stimulants. But
Oh yeah, you also had like 6 pseudo-stimulants, so you basically used 6 turns to just build a rocket launcher, and I was like, yeah, do that. Oh my word. Also,
He drank so much coffee, everything else went in slow-mo.
So, also during the time, Alex took the time to completely disassemble the broken mech that you guys recovered. The tank, the
Well,
tank
we-
drone.
We are kind of still working on deciding what we get from it, though.
Oh yeah. There's actually, yeah. There's a few things we still need to decide on.
Also, isn't it still actually technically sitting in cargo?
Yeah,
For some reason then?
Yeah. But much like the disassembled gun and reactor, they're they're still their whole image, but we know they're disassembled.
Yeah, that's
Same
fair.
thing. Other than that, because you guys did all that like restructuring of your ship and stuff, and you also wanted to move technical, you haven't really moved technical all too yet. Like all the fabricators are in there, but they haven't been like put together properly yet. And most of the guns have been moved, except the 2 rear guns. They're still disconnected, but that's fine. You still have like 4 main guns out of your 6.
As long as we don't, get flanked, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, pretty
basically.
much. Okay, cool. Anything else, guys? Anything else before we go land on a planet? Okay, cool. Nothing. All right, good.
This will
So,
be the first planet we land on.
yeah.
Exclude Polar.
I
Well,
mean, it's not a planet.
Polaris
It's
and a planet.
a space station, but
Might as
you
well
know,
be a planet. You
I
can
mean-
live your life and die there, so.
I mean, I guess that's not bad reasoning.
I mean, you can live your life and die on a space station as well. Yeah.
Darn it. He's beaten us. Okay. Where is this thing I wanted to show? That's not it. If I've lost it, I'll be very annoyed. It is. Oh yeah, it's actually right here. So, you guys basically spend a few days flying over to. We go to the zone map. Flying over to R021, which is basically the retreat point 021. So location Arzuna Tereziko at 4778, specially designated for use in emergency circumstances when continued deep operation is not viable. This has to have been where A71 went. None of the others were close enough. So there's another retreat point over at the other side of the zone, but it's quite far away. So it's most likely that they went to R021. So you guys have gotten over to R21. During the flight, you moved all the stuff and did all the things. And so you've now arrived in the solar system, and you go over to the planet. Being careful to avoid patrols. Well, there's not really many patrols. There's like some civilian ships flying around, going to other factory stations and other things. And you avoid them, and you go down onto the planet. And you zero in onto one hemisphere on the planet, and you go all the way down, and you see this is actually a very nice planet. It's lush, it's green, it's actually growing very well. It's probably quite a nice high level planet as well. But there are a few little dots of civilization, so you're very careful to stay very far away from anything that would probably see you. As invisible as you are, you're not that invisible. People can still.
Invisible, no, I am visible.
Yes, correct. So we are very careful to try and avoid people that would think that you're suspicious. Some civilian vessels would just fly past you and not really care, but there are some that would be a little bit too suspicious. But anyway, so you go down to this planet, and you zero in on R021's specific coordinate on the planet. And it's this nice little lush forested zone. It's quite big, actually, flanked by rivers and mountains. And you go low down into it, and you set yourself down in this little field. And I'm going to assume that you guys open up the docking, get into your car, and drive out, because you're not necessarily going to go take the ship all too close to this.
Easier to travel that way.
Yeah.
Far.
So, okay. You know that this is an LSN world. You know that that's pretty
What,
much...
really? Is it? What a
well,
surprise! It's
you
not
know
like we're
that...
deep in LSN space or anything.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you know that there are LSN military on this planet. It's not just a civilian world. It's not only Protectorate. Sorry, let me make that very clear. It's obviously LSN, but it specifically has LSN military elements on it. It's not just a normal planet.
Yeah, fair.
Why was it designated as an escape route?
Probably it was designated as an escape route, and then it's become outdated as an escape point.
Yeah,
Maybe, but that's up to you guys to decide. So okay, R021.
Seriously, land on some random space debris.
Because space debris is gonna move around an awful lot.
Yeah, and oxygen and
entirely
food.
possibly. As I was about to say, entirely possible that space debris is also going to move incredibly unpredictably. Planets are going to be hilariously predictable. So,
Yep.
far
Pretty much.
better.
Just put a tracker on some random meteor.
Then it leaves the zone and then you're screwed.
Anyway, so moving on. So you guys go down to the planet and you get in the vehicle. Is there anything else you guys want to take? Any gear or anything that you wanna do last moments? Any changes?
Primarily gas ion counter plates,
Yeah. So that's defend. No, it's Ubercarbon.
reflective hypersteel.
Reflective hypersteel. Sorry, I completely forgot which one I made stronger to that. Where is actually there? Oh, that's all the way over there. Okay, yeah.
If this is a retreat point full of LSN, what are they going to do here?
Well, it's on an LSN planet, but this is on like the other side. This is a much more rural segment of the planet.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice forested area. There doesn't seem to be any nearby towns or
Yeah, and
anything.
I wouldn't be surprised in any way, shape, or form if they have civilian clothing that isn't obviously RB.
Yeah, they could
You
probably
know?
hide a very.
If they have civilian clothing, it's like, okay, cool, you can just be any old civilian, you know?
We probably have civilian
That's what-
clothing as well, so yeah.
Yep.
Not what I wear at landing, like, but what I mean is on our ship we could have civilian clothing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah,
what
we
I'm trying to state.
We are bringing civilian clothes in the truck.
okay, cool. Okay, so are you going to wear them on you right now, or are you going to keep your soldier? Because you know that the place you're going to is off in the distance of the forest. There doesn't seem to be any towns next to you, but you have seen a few houses far off in the distance, and they're kind of like, but they're probably like farms
You
and other
could just
things.
wear armor under your civilian.
Not
I doubt it.
not that easy
No.
with this sort of armor, unfortunately.
Yeah, the
want
armor
to
is
sweat as well?
really bulky.
Yeah, you can keep yeah. You can.
I'd say myself, Alex, and Abtruse keep armor on. The others run clothing.
Okay.
So what AC does that give us, Laps?
Well, you've got RB like hyperweaved clothing, so it gives you an AC of 11. So it's a little bit worse than your hyperweave suit, but it's still it can protect you a little bit at least. So your
It's gonna
civilian,
do something.
yeah, your civilian clothing is like inlaid with hyperweave. It's quite nice. So it's AC 11 instead of like an AC of 10 or even worse in theory. But yeah. So okay, tell me when you're ready, and then I'll set you down on the map.
Have nothing to do on the ship, right?
Yeah, unless you're just sitting there while you change equipment. That's all I'm doing. So when you're all ready, I'll set you down. Ship is just a nice place to be.
I'm ready.
Think
Cool.
I'm good.
All right, Oddy, Alex.
I'm going with armor, right?
I am done.
Laps, you know with the hyperweave clothing, does that mean we can just wear extra webbing?
Yeah, you can wear some extra webbing, sure. You like hide it under your clothing. It depends what.
Can't I wear any of the armor?
Yeah. I mean, depends how many utilities you're going to try and bring with you. Well, one. Okay, fair enough then. You bring the extra webbing with one.
It'll only be one extra webbing.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Any
if-
small stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it comes to like extra webbing, it's basically just a bunch of pockets underneath the clothing.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Audience, if we're busy, are going in clothes. The rest of us are going in armor.
Okay. And you'll bring your equipment with you anyway. It's just in the back, I guess. Cool. So it's fine.
Everyone, we're bringing clothes for everyone else, and we're bringing their armors.
Okay.
You know, just in case
Yeah.
we need to change or anything of the sort.
All right. So you guys all get into the vehicle. Feel free to keep changing your equipment if you still are. That's fine. So you guys all get into the vehicle. You get all your stuff in there. Viren is of course. Sorry. Okay. Viren is of course in the ship's control room. And he closes everything up behind you, and he sits there quietly with the marine activated and everything kind of clamped. And he's sitting there watching his sensors and everything, and you guys drive off, and you drive off through
Probably playing some game on something.
probably playing Space
Let's be fair
Invaders,
here.
probably playing Space Age Space Invaders, and you guys drive off,
He's playing Shoot the Midorian.
going between trees and over bumpy terrain. Eventually, you find yourself on a nice dirt road that runs quite pleasantly, snaking through the forest. And you manage to get very close to where you want to go. Then you go off-road a bit, bump, 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 across quite uneven terrain. But it almost looks like something that's has driven through here once before. And you come up recently.
Alright.
Maybe not today, but maybe in the weeks prior or the months prior. But it looks, by the look of the grass, because there's a bit of like a pathway off of the road here. It's not obvious,
so
but yeah. Say so.
I doubt they got their own vehicle out, but they may well have managed to grab a vehicle off some farm in the region. Don't know.
Maybe.
Although I'm not sure they'd be dumb enough to do that, all things considered.
We know they didn't have their vehicle because we saw it destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. That's what is thinking. Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Hold on.
When are we going to do ammunition?
We'll see.
When you feel a couple more sessions at least before you actually do that, so you actually feel more comfortable, at least with the loading part, not the proper. Oh, we've run out of ammo fully stuff.
Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, you guys drive up, and before you're even close to it, you see
I was gonna say we're gonna at least stop off a bit before.
Okay.
Just make and get Audie out in front.
Yeah.
Just scouting.
So you guys stop about 50 meters out, or maybe even 100 meters out. 100 meters out.
100, yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a good safe distance. You stop it there, you hop out, and you let Audie go in front with Abstruse kind of covering slightly behind, following behind him a little ways just for backup. The rest of you guys...
Out of sight.
Yeah, everyone's out of sight, obviously approaching very carefully and slowly.
Yeah. Everyone, more specifically, everyone's out of line of sight of Audie.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, so he gets his buff. Okay.
At least I can hide my SMGs.
And Audie's in
quite
civilian. Yeah, and Audie's in civilian gear. Abtruse is not. So we're all holding back decently far.
Okay, great.
Audie's moving up.
So Audie walks up, basically, obviously as the scout, and he walks up, and he walks into this nice open clearing with a large downed ship in front of him. It's old, and you guys stand back in the trees and carefully hidden in the brush, and this large broken ship, it's not big, but it's about the size of your ship. Well, okay, it's a bit smaller than your ship, but it looks like a little kind class ship, and it sits there. Oh, sorry. Hello?
Yeah, you seem to be better.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so...
You were going a little robot.
Just to clarify, we're not meant to have a map at the moment.
Sorry, super busy? No, you're not meant to have a map. No. I didn't make a map for this, it's fine. Because you were gonna...
No, I was just making sure.
No, yeah, okay. No, yeah, so you guys are still looking at the ship right now. I'm sorry. Still looking at the ship right now, but... Yeah. So you guys approach this giant... Not giant, this... Well, large compared to you, but this small ship that's rusted and beaten and broken, and you march up to it, and, well, okay, so you guys are all over there.
Well, I'm gonna wait for Audie to report the situation first.
Okay, I'm gonna
before we even start moving in.
I'm gonna put you on the map, but you understand that although you guys are on the left, you're all far off in foliage.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you are, Audie. Hello.
I'm not going to be that close.
No, that's fine. Okay, so start wherever you want, but understand the other guys are even further away from you.
Yeah,
So-
I was
I'm
gonna say
aware.
I'd
They're
assume
not
Audie
there.
would be like. I was gonna say I'd assume Audie would be like in the tree.
Okay, well, feel free to move into the tree if you want. Be wherever you want. That's like a nice low bush. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably
So,
probably
was-
gonna have the rest
Is
of
this
the squad
supposed to be like
approaching
an
from
escape
the
pod or something?
top left. No. This is way too big for the escape pod.
Yeah, it's way.
This is far. This is an old ship, probably rusted up. Most likely left here as a emergency backup ship, in case shit went way downhill. That's what I would assume it is. At least.
You're probably right. Maybe. Okay, guys. What do you want to do?
well,
That's
officer,
it.
report to my commanders saying that there's a ship here. It looks very old, bit rusted, and from what I can see, the door looks like it might be a bit open.
Alright. Alright, yeah. Let's pull on back to the truck. Get back up. Get back to the truck. Switch to armor. Switch back to your armor, and same goes for you. Super busy.
Yeah.
So
Can
I'll
someone
put-
bring me so I can keep an eye on this, just in case?
I'll replace. Abtruse can replace you on the front, and keep an eye on it.
Okay, go for it. So you guys go in and put on your proper equipment. Abstruse keeps watch out, and of course he's already got his stuff on it. Abstruse rolls a 6 in perception. So Abstruse, you look at this thing, and while they're all changing into their equipment, you sit quietly in the bush with your weapon ready. Well, with your hammer and your pistol, right? What did you have? You had a pistol.
I had the hammer and I had the solo motor hand rifle.
Oh right, yeah. So you had the Salamotta hand rifle. Okay, so you've got the little hand rifle out, and you've got the hammer, and you're sitting in this bush, and you kind of you're looking at this, and it looks quite disheveled. Like it's got these large struts coming out of it. It looks almost as if it was incomplete during its construction, and it's got these rust and holes in it. It's probably not space worthy, or at least it probably can't hold oxygen just by the look of it. It's got these holes in it. It's cracked. It's rusted. But all around you, it's pleasant actually. There's birds tweeting and everything, and there's kind of grass and vines kind of growing up around it and over it and onto it. This has been here a very long time, as you would suspect, but things seem quite calm. Quite calm, actually. Not an eerie quiet, an acceptable, pleasant quiet. Okay, I guess you guys are now done suiting up, getting your guns ready.
So probably not intentionally left here specifically for this, but most likely an old ship we got informed about through some source. Considering the age, I don't think the RB was formed at the time it would take for that sort of work to go. To be honest, but I'm not sure.
Okay, guys, shall I bring up a turn tracker just so you guys know who goes first, or do you want to just go for it? I'm happy if you guys just go for it.
Turn tracker us.
Okay, there you go. Have a turn tracker. You can pick your own orders. Just click your guy, do your initiative, and then just decide your own orders for now. Unless you somehow get into combat. Okay.
A wild bear appears.
3 wild bear appears. Okay, who wants to go?
It's 2 8s, 2 5s, and 1 3.
2 3s actually.
2 5s. Alex rolled a 5 first.
Oh, but
so
he didn't.
Alex
But he didn't click.
should have had
Okay.
a 5.
Okay, Alex, I'll give you a 5. Have a 5. Okay.
I can be a 2.
No, it's alright. You can have a 5. But
Yeah.
Okay.
I want Audi up first. Nonetheless.
Okay, so Audie's up first. You want to go first, Audie? Well, I'm assuming so.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You're up first.
Everyone
moving
else?
in first.
Yeah.
Actually, not going straight for the door, but
Yeah. You go up to the side and you snake along. The entrance is quite wide open. Well, it would seem to be an airlock entrance. It's got
We're
this.
swinging. Yeah, the rest of us are gonna come in from top left. So put yourselves up there.
after I'm sliding from the side of the ship,
Yeah.
close to the ship, shall I say?
Alright.
Alex,
Yeah,
super busy. Can you move your characters? Cool, great, thank you, excellent. Okay,
Yeah.
just was making sure that wasn't broken for some reason.
Yeah. I want Obtruse up behind him. Not that close though. And
I'm
then I'm gonna go.
confused.
Why?
Why do we stop at a ship? I thought we were finding A71.
This is
That-
probably where the coordinates take us.
Yeah, this is most likely where they've gone. Cause
Or,
it's a ship.
or at least close by.
It could be a shelter.
Yeah.
It's most likely gonna be used as a shelter.
Just wondering while we were here, that's all.
We're taking in the sights, that's fine.
Okay, move on.
Yeah. Audi, go on in.
So
I assume that's a bit of the door sticking out so I can hide behind it.
correct. So you go on in, Audie, and it's an airlock door. Well, yes, it's an airlock door that leads into quite an interestingly shaped little airlock. Which you very quickly have a look in. It's completely safe, from what you can tell.
Do with a front line here, there's an airlock. All the doors closed, but do with a front line here.
Alright. Yeah. Let's everybody move up. Get in the airlock. Let's see if this thing has power. I somehow find it unlikely, but we can see if we can get the door open. some way
Any
other than
consoles,
brute
lad?
force.
Any consoles?
There.
Alex. Yeah, there you go.
It's all right. Alex was getting himself there.
Yeah, I was just making sure.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so you can definitely tell where a console would have been. There's this empty cutout of the steel, but much like the lockers to your north, they're completely empty. It seems this place has probably been scavenged a few times, or
Not my
maybe,
job, then.
or maybe
Fuck
whatever's
it.
happened.
Let's try this. I'm just gonna walk up to the door and just knock on it, metal on metal, you know.
Dunk, 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 dunk. Okay.
Dunk, dunk.
Okay. You hear in the distance the kind of like a tapping of metal on metal. Punk, punk, punk. And you hear from the other side, hello?
Sup?
It's a woman's voice, and you can tell that, and you know she seems surprisingly calm for this, but she answers from the other side anyway, and she says you can open, and then you hear the walks going away from you. The footsteps going away from you. She says just push it open basically, and
Alright, I
in
just
the distance.
push it up.
Yeah, you just push it, and it's actually on a nice little slide, and you just slide it to the side into its holder. Yeah,
Fair enough.
it's old, but that's helped it in the sense that it's not really being held
Yeah.
in place by much. It's almost like a loose sheet of metal.
Yeah,
So-
it's just a easy slide door.
Pretty much. So you look in, and down the corridor, this old, grungy, rusted corridor, you see a woman sitting down on a rusted chunk of steel, basically. It's some sort of bench or something. And she's got this stark white suit on. It's a lot more military than one would expect, but it's also kind of almost civilian.
Anything we recognize?
You don't recognize it. It doesn't ring any bells. It's
Alright.
It's not RB, but it's probably not LSN. But you're not entirely sure. It could be either. You never know.
There's something I want to say, but I don't want to say it's not canon.
What do you mean it's not? Hey, madam.
Yolanders.
Oh, the Yolanders. I understand. I thought you were going to be silly, Oddy. What is this? A stealth. Abstruse just does not want to be noticed by the woman. So,
And I went back outside because we all go into a small room.
okay, so Oddy waits outside because he's apparently claustrophobic with explosives.
No, because we're going to get trapped.
No, I understand, Oddy. I fully understand. So you go outside, and Jonas charges forward, and Super Busy follows him.
Not
Alex.
charges.
Okay,
Forward.
Jonas carefully walks into the room.
forward.
It shuts.
I'm staying a distance back, covering Jonas with my gun.
Right, good. So there's this girl sitting there. Here. Let me... well, she's a woman. She's not a girl. What am I saying? Here you go. A young woman in a stark white suit sits on a slab of rusted steel in the middle of this ancient ship's hub room. She toys with a glowing holographic image projected from a small round droid as sun beams onto her from the shattered ceiling. She's quite relaxed, and when she looks up and looks at you, she's actually relatively nonchalant about the entire thing. She's not even surprised or scared, although she perhaps looks like she has many other things on her mind. She doesn't really say anything, but she kind of looks at you and nods, obviously having let you into the ship, basically. You walk into this hub room, and there are these bizarre etchings into the walls and the roof. The roof is almost like a pyramid. It goes up into this pyramid with these holes in it, and where plating is missing, and you can see all the way through the ship's interior to the exterior plating and out. There are these nice holes, probably from gunshots or whatever it was, or maybe it's just from age and decay. But
Man, this ship sure as hell has seen better days.
very much so. Would you like to give a technical analysis, Super Busy? Or not really?
I don't think he even needs to roll.
I don't even think he needs to say.
I was gonna say I don't think he even needs to roll to say shit's fucked, yo.
he super busy carefully inspects what looks this little segment of the ship, and he's like, no, yeah, this is very old. Basically, the assessment is this thing is hundreds of years old, and it's been lying here for a while. Probably not that old, but it's probably quite old. I mean, it's rusted and torn. Even the uber steel is rusted, and that's when you know something is old.
Yeah, that's
So-
when you know it's like, oh shit.
He's like running his finger along, and him and Alex just look at this place and they're like, yeah, and they like nod to each other, and they have a good idea of how old this thing probably is. So yeah, so there's all this holes, but then there's also so there's this etching into the walls around you, and the ceiling, and it's odd. It almost looks like lots of little dots with lines interconnecting them all across the room. And she kind of motions you into the room, and she says, I've been trying to figure out what this means for the last couple of hours. She's very strange, but you listen to her nonetheless. What do you want to do?
Well, there's a trail of blood on the floor. I don't appreciate seeing that.
So she's got a nasty gash in her arm, and not entirely sure what that was caused by. But she's got a bit of like torn plating, and well, it's not really torn plating. It's more like torn fabric on one of the more exposed, unarmored segments of her like.
I was about to say
Arm.
super busy.
Super busy, man of the hour. He goes in with his medical applicator, and he just walks up to her, and she kind of like looks at him. Super busy. As you try to go close to her, you feel this magnetic field start to push you. As you try and get close to her, there's a point at which you just can't get any closer to her physically. And you just kind of stop trying, and it pushes you backwards from her. It would almost seem like she has about a meter of magnetic shielding around of her. Very interesting.
Question is, magnetonaut or some kind of tech?
I want to know.
And
what
immediately
that
the
is.
first girl just like,
If I have any knowledge, I want to know what that is.
Alex, do you have any tech? I can't remember if we gave you tech.
I don't think I'm going to check. I don't have anything.
Okay, all right. We need to correct that at some stage, because you wanted to change some stats and we didn't do that. Some things. Anyway, so that's fine. We'll deal with that later. So Super Busy's like, that's bizarre, and you know it's a magnetic force field, and you also kind of are familiar with the field, but you're not that familiar with magnetic shielding. And so you look at it and you're like, yeah, okay, interesting. I just moved the blood instead of taking my reveal tool and fixing this lighting. And you kind of look at her, and she seems to have a magnetonaut's kind of suit. Not a magnetonaut per se, but it's got some chunky segments on it. It's got like these cylindrical extrusions on the back and on the shoulders. And you assume that it's a magnetic suit shield of some sort. Probably you have no clue where it's from, but you know that that's what it is, and you know kind of how it works. You don't really have a good idea on how to get around it, though.
Would I have any idea what purpose it serves, other than keeping people away?
It's a magnetic shield, so it could deflect bullets, it could deflect people. It's also pretty strong by the very fact that you couldn't even get within a meter of her. So, well, once you were in a meter, you couldn't physically push yourself any further into it. So, it's a very strong magnetic field. We need to get Alex an exosuit, and then he could probably push through magnetic shields.
I would say maybe we
I-
should ask her about approaching her before just randomly walking towards her.
That might be a good decision.
probably a good plan, yeah. Fair enough.
Because as you're humming and ahhing about her, she's turned and looked at you with kind of like a sort of a mild annoyance, as if because you now tried to walk up to her, like right into her, with you're holding your medical applicator, but she doesn't really know what that is, and well, she doesn't know what you're holding necessarily, and so she's kind of a bit insulted. She's like looking at you like what do you think you're doing?
Was the gash on her arm or her leg?
Sorry?
Was the gash on her arm or her leg?
Arm, on her upper right arm.
The gash. He wants to take a look at it. I'm not inclined to stop it.
She looks at him, and she sort of motions for you to drop your medical applicator, super busy. Super busy?
I'm wary about doing that.
Okay. She
'Cause
looks at...
if I drop it and she takes it, I have no way of getting it back.
Potentially.
And it's whether I trust her not to steal it.
Well, to be fair, it's been specifically stated that it stops people. It stops bullets. It hasn't said anything about gas ion.
Damn it. Oh no. He's found the
So-
That's a
loophole.
very fair point.
If she steals
Well,
it,
also, she did let us in, so...
yeah, she
I
did
will
also.
drop my medical applicator for now, but be cautiously thinking about using my weapon.
Okay, fine. The magnetic shield would be able to repel gas ion, but it depends how fast you shoot it. So,
If it's point blank, I don't think it would do much.
And modified gun, so...
pretty much, yeah. So you're close. You're point blank with a very powerful magnetic gun. I think you can go through the magnetic shield. But I'm saying, like, yeah. Anyway, you understand that magnetic shields can deflect gas ion in some circumstances. But okay. So you put the medical applicator on the floor because you're not going to drop it. You're not a barbarian. And she just takes one hand, extends it, and just pulls the thing to her. She literally just opens her palm, and the thing flies from the ground into her hand. She grabs it, and she nods and she says, "Thank you." And she puts it into her other hand, and she kind of like pulls up sort of a ripped segment of fabric and starts to medically applicate her arm. She knows how to do this, and she kind of realized what it was once you had said it, obviously. But she didn't necessarily recognize the make of medical applicator off the bat. So she heals up her wound, and it's stopped bleeding. But you trace the blood into the north room, and she says, basically in summation, she says that she was looking around the ship to see what these markings were from or for. And in the case, she had accidentally hurt herself on some steel at some stage.
Yeah, that might well get infected. Especially with the ship this old.
Yeah.
Is it possible to take some sort of sample of these paintings?
Yeah, sure. Well, they're engravings into the interior hull plating of the ship. It's like someone had taken like a laser cutter or like a welding torch or something and had burnt or etched these dots and lines and things into the wall. It almost looks like a star map from like a science fiction book or something. One of the old fiction books many people have read.
I mean, all I'm gonna say is, super busy, Alex. You boys have fun in there. Have fun looking about.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and it's this big tapestry of etchings and markings into the wall, and they go all over the roof and all over the walls. It's very
I
interesting.
was gonna say, I'm
Would I
assuming.
have... Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming it's the same markings that's on the floor as well.
No, not really. The markings on the floor are paint, basically, but it's very old paint. It's
I meant the
Yeah,
same
those
look.
are the ones I talked about, taking samples. Maybe find the age, or if it's something special, maybe we know where such paint comes from. Or
I
something like that.
see. Clever. Okay,
Something
clever.
clever.
All right. You can go ahead and do that. Yeah, you can take you get down and you scrape a sample of this orange metallic paint thing from the ground, and you put it into like a little baggie, or like wherever you put it, wherever you store it. So you can add, Alex, just put in your notes that you have a ancient metal paint sample, which we'll get back to at some point.
So,
I was... Sorry, I'll let you talk again.
So, how did you find this ship?
Maybe let Super Busy talk first, because she'll talk for a
Yeah.
little bit.
I assume
Can
this
I
much.
just say something quickly as well? Can
Sure,
I say to Commander, I'm going to go scat in a van this area, so, not just stood at the back, I'm actually going
yeah.
van forest line.
Copy that.
I'll just move,
I won't
that's
re-
I'm just going to move myself into the dark, so I'm not seeable,
Yeah,
but I'm just
I was gonna
walking
say,
around
copy
the
that.
perimeter.
Okay.
was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say, I copy that. Go I want regular reports though.
Well,
Basically.
obviously.
Yeah. So Odie, you're free to move around the exterior of the ship.
No, I'm literally going after going around the forest bit, so I'll just move myself into the dark.
Is
Okay.
there a way I can climb up?
Represent that.
Okay, that's fine. Climb up where, Abstruse?
Wouldn't
Like how
trust.
high is the room I'm in?
The room.
Seems to be a bunch of.
It's a very short room. It's not very big. It's basically just an airlock. That's all it is.
Might just go outside and can I climb up there?
You can go outside and try and climb up the ship. Fine. It's quite
As
tall.
if she comes out and starts going on a rampage, yes, I can just use gravity to get the best of her magnetic shielding.
Yeah, maybe.
Hit her with a hammer from above, you know?
And
Not a bad plan. Alex?
Best of all, it's stealth.
So, okay. Alex?
a hammer is a massive metallic object moving at slow speed, so I don't expect it to
Yeah, I was
kind
actually...
of go through a magnetic shield.
Yeah, I was
expect
actually...
it to throw it back at you faster than you threw it.
I was actually gonna say maybe you'll see the what might happen with a hammer when you try it. But anyway, so okay.
The hammer is heavier, so.
Yes, but she's got a very anyway. Doesn't matter. Super busy. What do you want to say?
And
What do you
if
wanna
she
say?
focuses on it, ooh.
Oh my word. Yeah, she puts her palm. Super busy. What did you want to say?
I was going to ask with these etchings and such, would I have any clue what they were, and or do they look like a space map? And is there anything any kind of role I can use to try and at least have a go at working out what they might be?
Give me
Can I
a
get some
yeah.
view of where I'm at if I'm climbing?
No, because there's no top of the ship. There's no top
Ah.
image of the ship because that's unnecessary. So just pretend, you climb up onto the top of the ship and you're looking around and into the forest. It's fine. So super busy. Give me like a culture roll. You don't have any culture skills, I know, but just give me a culture roll.
I'm assuming
Any
it doesn't matter which one.
any one of them.
Actually,
I was
yeah.
gonna say labs. There's literally a history.
Oh, history. Give me history. Give me history roll. There you go. Done.
History would make so much more sense.
Modifier?
Should be end.
Yeah,
Should be
intelligence.
end, right?
Yeah, it should be. It's history after
It
all.
makes the most sense.
Some history might be more wisdom. I don't know, but that's an edge case. Yes, 6. Okay, great. So you look at this and you actually recognize that it's from a very old series of basically sci-fi movies. Well, sci-fi for the forever Cold War, which is like intergalactic exploration and crazy stuff.
Wait, so things that actually happened?
No.
You say no, but you Midorians.
Okay. So anyway, so basically it's.
So you're fucking. Your point? Huh?
I don't know what my point is here, John. Let's be quiet. so you recognize that these markings are from like an old series of movies that you've actually watched, or at least the style of them is from like an old movie series, and you recognize that basically it's basically like a star map sort of esque thing. You kind of understand that this was in a way that people during the Expanse, during the early time of the forever, like before the forever Cold War, during the Expanse, this is kind of like people tried to toy around with the idea of star maps, and they tried to like make things like this and whatever, and so you're very familiar with this sort of thing, and it's quite an old way of going about things, but it's very strange and doesn't have any immediate meaning to you because it doesn't begin anywhere. It's like all interconnected and very weird, but like it's quite an old Expanse age sort of idea. You recognize it as that. Not much else I can say. Okay, anything else?
Labs,
Yes.
You say expands before the forever Cold War, so you should say expands before the cancer.
Sorry, yes, before the cancer. That's even better. Thank you. Before the cancer. Yeah, so expands before the cancer. It's like they tried to screw around with star maps and things. Anyway, you understand.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm just enjoying it every single time you try and go with your own lore. Jonas corrects you.
It's because
I've learned this lore
he's basically he's not
through many years.
it's not really correcting it's me. It's more like reminding me of the small nuances
Yeah.
that I sometimes forget because I'm busy off on the other side of the universe.
Yeah, and
Um,
Labs presumably has even more info in his head, so I'm throwing the tiny details at him.
Which
Yes, but it
Every
is
now
still
and
fun.
Yeah, I enjoy it as well. It's always very funny. Yes, no, but yeah, it's because yeah. So anyway, okay, so that's basically that.
To
So
be fair, Audi probably could do the exact same thing.
yeah,
He just chooses not to most of the
I was a
time.
little bit more reserved about it. So okay, so you recognize these things. They're sort of like Expanse age, or it's inspired by the Expanse because it couldn't be from the Expanse. That's impossible. It's too far away. But you kind of recognize it. It's like okay, interesting.
A ship that lived through the cancer.
Not really possible, sort of. So okay.
Well, not likely. at
Yes,
least.
not likely, especially not in this state. It would have degraded too much. Anyway, so okay. Alex,
Okay,
you've.
bathroom, I'll be right back.
That's
Terribly
fine.
Sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. Go for it. Go for it.
Wait,
Um,
does
Yeah.
she have magnetic shielding on Oliver?
Yeah. She's got like this bubble of magnetic shielding. Yeah. Alex, you also look at it and you recognize the same thing. That it's some sort of thing, basically. You probably have to sit down with it for a little while to maybe decode anything of it. But also, Alex, you did add the sample thing to your notes, right?
Yes.
Cool. Great. Okay. Oddie,
Yeah.
you are scouting through the forest, and you don't really
Yeah.
see much. It's quite dense, and you slowly walk around the ship. Basically, I'll get back to you in a moment.
Yeah, I'm maybe being a perimeter watch as well, so we don't know what's actually out here.
No, it's perfect. I mean, you guys have hardly looked inside the ship yet, but that's fine. I'm sure the rest will take care of it. So, okay, so Oddie's off on his own doing his, well, not off on his own. He's doing perimeter watch. Super busy is analyzing. Yeah, so you look at these star maps, and you can't gather anything from them. They're too disjointed. They don't really make sense. You wouldn't know where a point of origin would be that you could like direct yourself. So they're pretty much useless at the moment. And then Jonas is going to ask the girl about things, but I'll deal with that when he's here.
I'll be sure it's not an old movie ship.
Well, it's inspired. Well, you think that it's inspired by someone that probably saw old histories and other things, and was amused by the idea. Hey, Jonas, good. Okay, so now let's talk to the girl. What did you want to ask her again?
How did you find this ship?
So she's not really looking at you. She's still looking at her. She's looked back now to her holographic thing, which she's kind of moving and toying, almost like it's some sort of. This holograph, of course, projecting from a little round droid that she has at her feet, and she's kind of like toying with it. And she doesn't answer you. She's a bit evasive. She goes, "Have you heard about the star glow? They're very interesting, and to be honest, I didn't think I'd find them here." And then she kind of goes quiet, thinking, and kind of looks up at the symbols etched into the walls, and kind of holds a hand on the hologram.
Yes,
Starglow? Here? A bit of a deeper explanation would be nice.
She doesn't really. She kind of motions to these things and says, "It's interesting the way some people get across the galaxy. But, yeah, the Starglow don't seem to be like any other." She would seem to be quite...
riffs.
She would seem to be quite deep in her own head at this point.
To be fair, nor do the Midorian.
She's still looking at the sims at the engravings on the walls, but she kind of like nods as she listens to you. Super busy, Jonas. You are free to move around. By the way, you can actually move to the north and south. You're not blocked by magnetics or anything. You're only blocked if you try to get to her specifically.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, go down, go around a bit, and just basically lean myself against this table. Still standing, just leaning against it.
Yeah, I get you.
Because, I'm gonna be talking to her for a bit, so.
Probably.
Alex, super busy. You two are free to explore, though.
Yeah.
I'm changing plans. Now that I think about it, yeah, this would be a horrible idea.
Being on the roof.
I mean, first of all, that leaves me exposed to fire if she...
So, Alex, do you
I
want to... Yeah? So...
Mid-air attacks never work well, put it that way.
not in this case. Maybe. So, Alex, what else do you want to do? Do you want to go look around, or do you want to just wait there? Because you can move around a little bit.
I would first like to just approach the woman and ask her if she's all right, and maybe where is she from?
Yeah, Jonas already asked where she. Well, he asked how she got here, but you can go up and ask the same
I
thing.
asked how she knew about the ship or how she found it.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Anyone
That's
wanna
what I
do a
asked.
roll
Sorry,
on
I.
her hologram?
You can. So Alex, you walk up to and you say, "Are you okay? Where are you from?" Right?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
She looks over to you, and then she looks back to Jonas, and she looks at her little holographic ball, and she kind of toys with it, and she says that. So she says a little. She's kind of hard to understand because she's sort of mumbling a little bit, almost as if she doesn't like talking about where she's from. But she says something northeast side of the galaxy, and you can kind of piece together that it's where the star globe first attacked from.
I was
Maybe.
gonna say, okay, that explains a lot, because that's where
And
Stargate is.
So she kind of says that, and she doesn't really answer how she is. She doesn't really say anything about that, but she answers kind of where she's from. She says you assume that she's from the northeast, but she's kind of talking about it like a mumbled way, and that's probably is where she's from by your best guess.
Are you interrogating the girl again?
Because she might have interesting information. Okay. Biertrium. Okay, so super busy. What are you doing?
Just from what I can tell from her mannerisms
Sound
and
like
such, is there any,
creeps.
can I see if she looks like she's been like isolated for a while and like started to go crazy?
I
Or is she just
understand.
very introverted?
I understand. So you only really got a 5 and a 6. Give me just. Is there a social roll? There has to be a social roll.
Ooh, that's a double nat one.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
that
that
was
is
Ooh.
that's pretty bad. You can't really.
Oh,
Yeah. Give me a.
It is funny that my lowest is 5.
It is actually really funny.
For medical.
So. Okay.
Uh,
Wait. Hold on. Let me look at your
For,
character.
like, yeah, for that, I think, I don't know, for social things, I think, like, persuasion.
Yeah, I'm
Probably.
thinking persuasion too. Give me a perception. Give me a perception with charisma. Give me a
Yeah.
perception with charisma. I think that's what I want.
Nothing
Okay. So also kind of it's a 4 and a 3. It's not that bad. So okay, you can kind of tell that she's not insane necessarily. She's not twitchy. She's very calm. She's got very fluid movements. You can guess that she's just being evasive, most likely, or that she's very caught up in what she's thinking about and doesn't really fully hear the question because she's been alone here for a little while. You don't think she's insane, but you do think that perhaps she's been thinking about things far too much and she's not really listening.
Well, I will. If there's any way I can quietly pass that on to Jonas without her hearing, I will.
Okay. So you kind of like mutter it into your radio and Jonas hears you. So she kind of looks at you, Jonas, and she says, "So why are you here?" She's actually now kind of realized that you're here. She's actually now kind of realized it. And you can see that in her face there's more alertness, and she's actually kind of waking up. And she looks at you and she says, "Why are you here?"
Warned you guys. It's pretty suspicious.
It's okay.
Like we want information from her or something.
Let him think.
Tell the truth, or just see about lying.
Okay, super busy. BRB. Okay. Hurry, super busy, hurry! Give it some time to think it over, Jonas. Well, we'll wait till super busy's back because this is all quite critical. Audie Cook me is typing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, do I tell her the truth or do I try to come up with a lie?
A good question.
Yeah, because if she knows the color schemes, it is pretty obvious that we're Let's be fair here, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So, do we try to come up with something, or Actually, no. Considering
Ever
it's pretty.
true, but it's twisted to the point. It's just
That's a waste of time. Just
That's
twisting
what
the
I did
truth is a waste
naturally.
of time.
So Oddie,
Well, we're just basically searching the area for something.
Eh. I,
It's true,
I
and we
mean-
can get away with it if we're caught.
yeah, but at that point, well, if she's gonna report us, if she's gonna report that there's RV people around, then no, we're not getting away with it anyway. So yeah, all things considered, yeah, I think I will be telling the truth.
okay. We'll just let me get some water and we'll wait for Super Busy.
Go
I
ahead.
need.
I'm
I'm
gonna
back.
go- I'm gonna
Oh,
go
he's literally back.
grab it.
Oh my
Yeah,
life.
no,
Never
it's
mind.
just a very, very short one. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
No, that's fine.
important.
That's fine. Let me just pour some water, and I will give me 1, 2, 3. Pour water for me.
So
Okay.
anyone want to perform a role on that hologram?
Sure, you can go ahead. If you want to, Jonas, you can give me like a perception intelligence, if you want to see what's on that hologram. Perhaps. Super busy could have too, but he's currently too far away.
Yeah, it's not something I find.
If Jonas wants me to make a tech roll on it, I can.
Yeah.
but-
Okay, well,
Yeah,
neither
if
of you. Yeah.
I was gonna say if you want to,
Yeah.
you're welcome to.
Neither of
I
you-
don't see it as anything important.
Yeah, neither of you care about it right now, so it's fine. Abstruse, when you get up here, then you can. But so okay. So Jonas, go ahead now. Go ahead now that you're all together.
Well, why we're here? Well, this is a retreat point, one of a sort.
She looks at you and goes, "Running away. Interesting."
Well, no.
And she looks back at her. She kind of like looks at you. She goes, "Running away. Interesting." And then she looks back at her hologram and starts moving a few things around. Go on.
More. If you're found out, there might be supplies, a way out, a meet-up point of sorts.
She's listening to you and nodding. Sort of
So not
listening.
necessarily running away, but resupply and
There goes our top secret meetup point.
reinforcement.
Super busy. What's that tick roll for?
Analyzing the hologram thing whilst Jonas is talking.
Okay. Give me a second. Hello, my little dog. What is it? Okay. Yes. Shame. Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry. Yes. So Jonas, do you wanna finish what you were saying?
That was pretty much it, honestly.
Okay. Good. All right. No, I'm just checking. Just checking. She goes, okay. She kind of nods and she's like, she doesn't seem very affected by the statement. She kind of nods in understanding, as if she's kind of fine with the idea.
You seen anyone about the place recently?
She basically says, I only got here about 4 hours ago. And even then, I didn't see anything, really. Basically, she hasn't seen anyone. She was here from about 4 hours ago.
You just cut out for me, Laps, so I missed everything you just said.
Sorry, so busy. So the girl has been here for maybe 4 hours, so she says, and she hasn't seen anyone, so she says.
Thanks.
Anytime.
That's just that she's been staring at that thing for hours.
No tracks or anything?
It's difficult to tell. There's so much rust and dust and dirt and everything in here that it's very difficult to tell if people have really walked around. Alex, in the meantime, is slowly...
I was mostly asking her, to be honest.
Oh, I understand. Sorry. I didn't... Okay. You need to preface this, otherwise I get a little confused. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So, first of all, Super Busy, you're looking at her hologram. And you can tell that it's like probably a GCD make holographic projector.
Another 12.
Hey, exactly. So this is whoo. Now Laps has to go full tech crazy. So okay, so you look at this thing, and you're kind of looking over her shoulder as far as the magnetic field can let you get close to her. And you're looking over her shoulder because she's got this ball kind of right about here. She's kind of looking at it here. And so you're kind of looking over her shoulder, and you can tell that it's a projector, probably of a GCD make by the functioning of it. It's projecting from a little droid. The droid is most likely GCD as well, but it's.
It isn't basically everything GCD make
I
though.
mean, you're not wrong, but it looks it looks similar to some GCD designs of that sort. But so the sort of hologram that it's making is like a storage data ball, and basically it's like a physical manifestation of data, and she can kind of manipulate it. The droid itself is very interesting, and her armor, by the way, as an extension, is very interesting. It's not GCD, it's not LSM. It's a very odd make. It's shaped and kind of like very round. It's surprisingly rounded, and the droid is also very round. It's a little ball on legs, basically. And
Oh shit! I
and
just came to a realization.
and the droid is kind of projecting this sort of hologram that you recognize as sort of maybe a GCD data system.
Yeah.
So
Considering the color scheme, yeah. That's all
so
I'm gonna say.
so this little droid is sitting there, and it's got these four kind of pointy legs and everything, and it's got this little projector, and it looks like its legs actually came out of it, like it's got little segments where its legs click in and click out, and it also looks like it has many other compartments and things that can click out and do whatever. You're not entirely sure where it's from, but it looks similar to a roller droid a roller droid design from the GCD, or at least from like many tech places. But the GCD kind of went crazy with it, with roller droid tech. And so one of these, it looks quite similar, but it's different in a couple ways. Just kind of the way the metal is shaped and the shine of the white steel or whatever it is, the white material. It's interesting, but you can't really tell what she's doing on the hologram. You can just tell that she's manipulating data of some sort or some other, and it almost seems to be in a slightly different language. It's not Aporian, as you're all used to Aporian. That is your effective. That's the sort of RBLSN language. It's more Neo-Terran-y, like the GCD and Free Roam, but it's kind of a weird blend of the two. It's difficult to tell exactly what it says.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not old Neo-Terran?
No, the droid and her are quite. They look fresh. The steel and metal and everything.
Just as a question out of game.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, to have a moment of realization. Do you care to enlighten me? I'm not as lore savvy.
No, it's fine.
I have a sneaking suspicion. At least the suit is fuck.
Yolanda?
No, not Yolander.
Starglow?
Starglow. I have the sneaking suspicion. At least the suit is Starglow tech, or at least Starglow make. Because if memory serves, normally Magneto not suits are not usually that potent.
And the Starglow are
The
I've heard of them,
cyborg-ish.
Yeah.
The cyborg-ish super robo heavy people.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Who are very heavy into wanting to fight the Midorians, but can't because there's an entire front line between them.
Robot overlords, in a nutshell.
Well, no,
Yeah.
no, that's IDD 223.
I mean, you're not wrong. But yes, no, the Starglow do enjoy some very heavy AI tech and cyborgification and lots of other things. They are the technophiles of this galaxy, you could almost say.
Yeah, so that's my sneaking suspicion.
So what you're
And
saying is if I can, I really want to reverse engineer this armor.
And
Yes.
Also, just the pure white of it is another thing that's pushing me that way. It's like,
Stark white armor. Also, it's very rounded. The Starglow.
yeah, exactly.
The Starglow, they aren't necessarily rounded, but the Starglow like a rounded thing with their metal.
Yeah,
As like an interesting idea.
and I mean, at least it isn't purple.
At least it isn't purple. If she was a
I'm assuming that
Midorian,
means Midorians.
that would, yeah, be a Midorian kind of reference.
Yeah.
People aren't necessarily always in the colors of their faction, though, but generally it
This is
can
better,
sometimes
but-
be.
And I presume Midorians is very bad.
Yes, Midorians are very bad. Not as bad as Orzakians, but they're also pretty bad.
Yeah.
You could almost put the two in equal measure sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so okay. Let me just quickly, Alex. So Alex has been walking through the south of the ship, and it's equally run down and broken and everything. And there are these benches that he kind of clambers over, and there's like this little tree growing, not like a tree, it's a bush, growing out of the steel. And Alex walks through this very ripped up console area, these very fritzed out, very broken consoles. Pardon me. And Alex walks past them into this, what must have been the ship's power core or reactor. And it's rusted and it's torn to pieces. There's nothing left of it. It's basically just the housing. And Alex, you walk around it, and there's the housing of what looks like it could have been a micro VMP. It's very small, and based on the way the steel kind of curves, there's like some copper left, and a bit of like normal, like stainless steel. But otherwise, it's pretty much stripped bare. If there's one on this side of the ship, there's probably one on the other side, because normally VMPI is made symmetrical for the sake of not ripping the ship in half. So there's probably another one at the other side. It might be in a similar state. You don't know. Okay.
Did you just say VMPI?
Sorry, VMP, not VMPI. VMP. Sorry.
I was about to say.
No.
Ellison time travel confirmed.
So Alex, as you walk
I mean,
into
if
this
the
room,
ship is like couple hundred years old, it could full well be LSN.
you never know.
I wouldn't be too surprised. At least LSN Tech.
So Alex, do you have your helmet on or off?
Probably on. I am,
Okay.
after all, walking in a ship that's decomposing.
Yes. Well, what I mean is, are you using oxygen or not? I don't think you are, I guess. So, okay. But either way, so basically you smell this room, and it smells of kind of sweat and old blood. It's very unpleasant. But it seems to be a locker room. But it's the smell is naffy as all hell. It's not very nice. But you enter it, and just this smell hits you basically. It's been kind of permeating out of this room, but it's the strongest in here. You can go further if you want. There's a locker. It's kind of a locker blocking your point of sight. If I just now remove that bit. So okay, you move slightly in, and if we
Also, I take on my helmet.
okay, so there's this kind of there's this patch on the ground of like what it almost looks like someone's been sleeping there. There's kind of like bits of like I wouldn't say straw, but like kind of some soft material and fabric that's kind of been put onto the ground, and there's this kind of small data pad sitting there, and you recognize it instantly. It's a data pad of some sort. It's just sitting there. Move up. There's nothing. It's quiet. These lockers are completely empty. There's just that fabric on the ground there, kind of almost like it was someone's bed. And there's the little data pad.
Might well be hers.
Maybe. So you move up to the side.
Actually, no. Never mind. He got her 4 hours ago. So most likely not hers.
As far as we know, she got here 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
If we're to trust her, so I'd still say check it. If she said she got here longer ago, then I wouldn't want to disrupt her privacy. But since she said she got here 4 hours ago, I'm more than happy to disrupt her privacy. If she complains about it, we can just say, well, we didn't know. You said you got here 4 hours ago.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, do you want to grab the compad or the data pad as it would look?
It's just a standard data pad, right?
Yeah, it's a standard data pad. and it would seem to actually be a Rebel Battalion data pad, maybe, by the color scheme on it.
So there is nothing special or advanced or Star Glove like
No,
about it?
no. It's very normal. It's very normal.
No, then I will probably pick it up and see if I can read that without breaking anything.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, so you pick it up. Sorry, it's summer, and there's a bloody cockroach here now, which is horrifying.
The cockroach king returns.
Cockroach.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the great storm will come back to us soon.
the great phoenix cockroach has returned.
No, the great storm.
The great storm? I'm lost. Please help.
Your fucking fans.
Oh yes, the great
The great
storm. Okay, I like it. All right.
It's
Come
what
on,
I've been
you
calling it the
bastard.
last like couple of years. Come on, laps.
I'm sorry, I'm very slow on the uptake. Okay, I'm leaving my shoe on my desk so I can murder the little thing. Okay, so bloody cockroaches. Bloody hell. Okay, so you okay, let me go here. Hello, my little dog. Yes. Okay. You go and unknown datapad. Okay, show to players. Show to everyone. Okay. So, a relatively new datapad. It's unlocked and displays brightly. Current date 35870724. Connection, no connection available. Data prior to 35870701 successfully purged. Storage space 1 gig out of 1024 gig. Okay, try revert? Question mark. Message logs available. Read.
Is that used or remaining?
Remaining. Sorry, so it's 1 gig used out of 1024 available.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So, not
try
much used.
revert probably.
You hit.
I was gonna say, read message logs first. We don't know if it's gonna fuck it over first.
yeah.
Fuck over the current log.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
That would be my recommendation, at least.
Yeah. Hello, my little dog.
Because
You
I
wanna
wouldn't be
get out?
surprised if the try revert is an absolute trap just to wipe everything.
just
We'll
to
see though.
just to nuke the universe. Not unlikely.
Okay, I could try reading the logs without triggering anything if there is any sort of programming that could cause issues.
Yeah. Okay, so you click read, basically, and where is this thing? Okay, here.
This pad is relatively recent, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, updated.
A95. Okay then.
Absolutely. Yes, you found it.
Also,
Deep A95.
I may have just seen it through.
Yes, you might have just broken the fourth wall. That's fine. Okay, go on, Alex. Reopen up the thing and give it a read, or whoever wants to read it, go for it.
I have it open.
Yeah, it should be open for everyone. Should have opened for everyone. Show to players. Yeah.
Deep A00.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay, who's gonna read it? Because I'm trying to hunt down a cockroach.
can't remember the last time I read aloud, so...
Well, someone's got to read. Otherwise, I'll just read. I'll just give up on hunting down the last of the cockroach
Yeah,
fiends.
See how good I can read out loud.
Yeah, you read it, Laps.
This is Tim
Okay.
Haitian, leader of A95. I've lost contact with my deep, and I've had to seek shelter at R021.
I'd say read from the very top. Read from subject. Well, I can read it if you want. It's fine. So, subject. Enter subject here. Interesting. Seems someone was in a rush. Recorded 35870719. Message send status. Pending connection to relay network data VEN. To deep A00. This is Tim Haitian, leader of A95. I've lost contact with my deep and have had to seek shelter at R021. We've encountered a skilled infiltrator. He's more than a mole. He's been hunting us for months. I'm still not sure he's stand or free roam, but he's not a friend. He led us on about weapons and stashes and documents, pretended to be a weapons broker. My deep is most likely captured. Investigate S47, data file attached. Don't trust Shadow Provider Wallen. He referred us to the Pretender. He's got his hands in too many deals with too many people. I'm not sure where he stands to gain, but he's a problem now. I need help now. I'm waiting for you. Second message. Subject. Halon hash 472-839-859-209. You recognize that as not a subject. It's probably a data code of some sort. Recorded 35870721. So about a
Two days later.
2 days later. Message send status. Pending connection to relay network data ven. Data ven. I can't get a connection to data ven from this planet. I'm going to leave my pad here and go into the nearby town. If someone finds this, I tried to get into the main protectorate relay node on this world. I formally apologize for the loss of my deep, and if they have been compromised beyond hope. No further messages located.
Alright, now we can see if we can get the revert. Let's see.
Okay.
Or record the get the subject that's not actually a subject written
Yeah,
down
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
After that, try the.
Alex, do you want to connect it to your little tech pad on your arm and try and get that transfer those messages off?
You mean downloading all of it?
Yeah, we'll download the messages, yes.
Yes.
Just in case something goes weird when you hit revert, maybe. Because, just in case.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, okay, you download the messages off onto your little data storage, onto your little data pad on your arm. And basically... Bloody hell. Okay, I'll go find that thing later. I'm going to stop worrying about it. Basically, you copy the messages onto your compad. And you go back from the messages, you go into the main system screen, and you hit try revert. And basically it cuts to a blue screen which just says attempting major data reversion, please hang on, and it's got this progress bar, and it's not really moving. It might take a while. So you can't really do much other than put it in your backpack.
To be fair, we don't know how much data was on there before.
Well, it says there's 1 gig available of 1024, so I'm assuming quite a lot.
Wasn't it 2000?
No, sorry, it's the other way around. 1 gig used, because, okay, so it purged all the data, and then there was only 1 gigabyte of data remaining out of its total store. Only 1 gigabyte used. Sorry, I was very confusing about that. 1 gig used of...
That's probably the OS and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably some other stuff. OS, whatever else. Communication hardware, probably some encryption stuff. But he probably wiped it for a very good reason, as we would expect. So okay, you hit revert, and basically it says it's trying to do its thing, but it's giving you this very long loading bar. So you basically put it in your pack. There's nothing else much you can do about it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask her real quick. Actually, wait. You said you were from the northeastern part of the galaxy?
Yes, super busy. Sorry, Jonas. Sorry. Super busy, yes. The current date was written down there. Basically, this was...
I misread it.
Yeah, this was like 5 days ago, basically. Yeah, because the current date was it written at the top there? It should have been. Where?
Yes, I just can't read.
Oh, yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Current date, 24. So it was actually 3 days ago, most recent recorded.
Correct.
My
Was
immediate
3 days.
thought is go into town and see if we can find
We're
them.
saving
Yeah,
2
that's
squads, eh?
Well, we're
Just trying to grow our
presumably the
crew
leader.
margin.
We're presumably saving the leader of one squad, because, as he said, his deep's been fucked.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what did you want to ask her, Jonas? Sorry, go for it.
So, you said you were from the northeastern side of the galaxy?
She nods to you and says that yes, she is from the northeastern side of the galaxy.
Alright. How'd you get this far down?
She basically, in the end, says, like anyone does with a starship. Oddie, it's at about this time that as you're walking through the forest, you basically ram face first into what is effectively a stark white ship. But for some reason, it was camouflaging itself as green. But the moment you bash your head into it, because you didn't really even realize it was there, you thought it was just more leaves. You were going through like a bush, and you basically bash your face right into this thing. You didn't hurt yourself really, but you bashed your head. And as you bang it, the segment of this metal becomes white, and sort of the leaf-like camouflage around it kind of flutters out and then flutters back in the cover over the white. And you realize that you're standing in front of a camouflaged starship. You're not really sure how big it is, so you kind of stand back and try to get yourself out of the bushes. But it's very difficult to tell sort of its dimensions from where you're standing.
So, what happened to the ship?
She doesn't really. She kind of says, "I don't know."
Mm.
Basically.
Commander, I think I found her ship.
Hey, right on cube.
Oh, you don't know? I just look up at her. I just, clearly take Oddie's message and look up at her and say, "Oh, you don't know?"
She looks at you, and you can see a bit of a scowl come over her eyes, and she says, "Do you?"
Well, my scout just ran face first into it.
She smiles and flicks a little finger across the orb. Oddie, immediately a magnetic field throws you backwards onto your back, and you skid across the ground, away from this thing.
So I just got thrown away from it. What did you do?
I genuinely just laugh out. Just like I might have told you ran face first into it.
Thanks.
Oddie's like,
You're welcome.
"Bloody Captain." So she's kind of smiling to herself as she did that, and she kind of looks back up to you, and she says, so she kind of looks at you, and she kind of looks a little more comfortable now, in a sense. She looks uncomfortable in the sense that you just found her ship, but she also looks a bit more comfortable in the sense that you're not being insane about it necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, you lied to me.
We still sound mighty suspicious.
It's very interesting.
The way we're talking to her. Wouldn't you think so?
Well, I mean, you guys pitched up randomly, and she didn't really tell you why she was there. She was just kind of like, "Hey, look at these runes."
I don't count her as suspicious.
You're not really.
No, we're suspicious.
You're not really investigating her, interrogating her so much. You've kind of just asked her some general things, and she's asked you them back.
Yeah.
But
and polite conversation, if anything.
Yeah. So she basically says that she's been looking into the star glow, and that there's been an interesting. So she oddly enough, she starts to open up now, and she basically says to you that she's been looking into a star glow presence in this locale. That there's been a number of strange ships going about areas without leaving VMP trails. You quietly gulp.
I'm quietly like,
and basically,
I'm just gonna. You investigating this for yourself, or?
She says, let me just move my little dog's bed. Okay, all right, you should be happy now. Okay, all right. Basically, she says, in short, that she's basically looking into it for herself. Yes, that she's that she's been looking for the star glow in this area because they've been doing, or that just basically she was interested. And that she's been hunting the star glow for a few zones at this point. And she thinks she's been narrowing in on a signal. And she kind of motions to the ground beneath her and to the walls around her, and she says, "It ends up that I've seen a lot of signals in the last few days converge on this point."
Interesting.
And she kind of says the last few days.
Tree area.
She does kind of say the last few days, but you're not entirely sure how long that period of time is.
Yeah. Have you guys finished checking the top region?
It would
Because I
not
don't
seem
think
so.
so.
I'm sure she's referring to us.
You can keep going back. You don't say. Have you checked the front of this ship, like through this door?
So busy. You guys can go and have a look there if you want.
I asked
Super did
her.
stand there, but nothing happened.
Yeah, I asked her when it came to this door specifically.
Oh, sorry, I'm not looking. I thought you were talking about. Okay.
I asked them if they had finished checking the northern side, but
So busy runs up, and so busy. Do you want to just give me like a little perception check as you go through these rooms? Perception, wisdom.
What modifier?
Wisdom. Okay, 9. Okay, as you go around the back of this specific terminal, you notice again these very strange markings on the back of it. The same markings as were in the hub room, these dots with lines on them. It's engraved into the plating, and the plating looks kind of loose.
take it off.
What do you want to do,
I'm
Super
your
Busy?
subconscious. Take it off.
Super.
I'm removing the plating. Sorry, I put my mic the wrong way around.
That's
I
okay.
thought I was unmuting it, and I was actually muting it.
I understand. That's fine. Okay, so you go and you pull off the plating. Okay, using a little multi-tool, you kind of sketch it off, and you kind of carefully pull it off, and the whole thing is very, rusted and everything, but it's actually kind of quite carefully hidden. These little markings. They're very small, like a hand size of these little dots and lines. Pretty much almost exactly like the big one that goes across the entire roof of the hub room. And you kind of pull it open, and inside you see a very old data pad. Very interesting. If I can, gimme. Okay. Okay.
I'm also seeing a lot of very concentrated papers.
Hey. So if I show. So. Ignore the title, an old datapad, engraved, actually the title's fine, hidden star map datapad. An old datapad. Engraved onto it is a star map, perhaps inspired by a work of old fiction. It's useless as anything other than a symbol. The pad itself is scratched and worn and would seem to have suffered water damage to its screen at some point. It needs a new one, but otherwise would seem unharmed.
I'm gonna call out to Alex and effectively say, did you get a datapad? Because I seem to recall you mentioning something over the comms.
Alex?
I mean, you shouldn't you have basically wrist computers? Can you connect it up to that?
That's try.
Point, yeah,
well.
I was gonna splice it with
Do you
with
status a
Scream, but yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but he was just asking about the other compad that Alex got, the other datapad.
Yeah, I know.
No, it was a case I was just going to try and splice the screens together, but...
Oh, I see, yes, but you can just...
use my wrist computer.
And you got an 11. Okay, why do I even ask? You? Well, you did it yourself, that's fine. So, okay, you take the compad and you pull out a couple of wires from your ARM compads, or your ARM datapads thing. Plug it in, your datapad, into its datapad. Well, you have more like a compad. It's more compact and actually fits on your arm. This is more like an actual thing that you hold, more like an iPad or something from the modern day, like from 2019. You understand? But
Rather than like a phone.
Yes. So it's a
Because
data
a phone
pad.
you could easily just like stick on your arm and have it set.
Absolutely. So you take this data pad, you plug it in, and you kind of give it like a little shake, and you see if it works, and you see if you can feed it power. And slowly but surely it kind of splutters to life. It starts to try and boot up, basically, but it seems to be taking a little while. While you wait for this in the meantime, what are you up to? Are you just looking at this ship now with annoyance?
No, I'm walking around trying to walk around it and still walk perimeter and see if I can see any tracks or anything.
Okay, so you walk around it, and it's, again, now that you know what you're looking for, you can see how this is camouflage. It's basically like projecting images of bushes onto itself. Um, and you kind of walk around it. It's a very small one-person ship. It's probably like, what, if I measure? It's probably like 12 meters long, maybe 10 meters. It's very small, and it's very rounded. It's got a few sharp edges kind of at the back, but it's primarily rounded. And you can see an area where there would probably be an entrance, but you have no way of getting close enough. I mean, this magnetic field throws you out to like 5 meters from it, so it's
I
considerably
doubt I
stronger
could take all
than
my
hers.
metal off and I could take all my metal off and walk up to it still.
It might rip the iron from your cells.
Exactly.
Okay, it might not be that bad, but you understand. It's like, you could
Yeah,
take
I
off your
still-
armor,
I
but
still
then
get
you'd have to take
pushed.
off your armor.
Now,
Yeah.
like I said, I'll just walk around it. Once I get around it, obviously still try and walk the perimeter still. But look for any tracks or any sign of movement in the forest.
Yeah. So, you walk around there and you find tracks coming out of where the entrance was, and it leads off towards the main ship. And you've been hearing all these conversations, and you go, yep, this is definitely her ship then, yep. And you know, obviously, where she came out from. Peppers.
Can't I just climb a tree and perform a perception check?
It's a dense forest. You're not really going to see much. Also, you have to climb a tree, which you can do, but you have to still climb a tree. Give me some serious athletics there.
Relax. Have I actually ever seen any animal tracks or anything like that in this area?
No, you haven't seen any animal tracks actually. You've heard birds. There are birds.
We heard birds, but there's no other animal tracks or anything in this area.
No, there's no
Okay.
animal tracks. There are no
Have
animal.
we actually seen birds?
You've seen
We've heard
birds.
them, but have we
Yes, no,
actually
you've
seen
seen
them?
you've seen birds. You've seen birds tweeting. It's been seen that this planet has relatively low biodiversity, but it's probably very high quality in some other ways. There's a lot of bio, but there's not much diversity. So it might not be the healthiest of ecosystems. But there might just not be any planets around here. I mean, planets? Animals. You know what I mean? Okay, look. It's
There
very
might
late.
not be many predators to hunt the birds.
Or any land-based
Might not be
things.
Might not be many things.
Yeah. Okay.
It's more because if this ship is good enough for us what we don't realise and animals do, then that could explain why there's no animals close by. But like I say,
I see.
birds.
Clever thoughts. Well, I mean, you don't know if there are animals nearby or not, but you don't see any tracks.
well, we've seen birds, but I ain't seen any tracks, and the tracks normally means animals.
True. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Who else wanted to do something? Jonas, you wanted to keep talking to her. Super busy. You're waiting for this thing to boot up, and Alex is also waiting for the other thing to reload. Super busy. You can walk through the other rooms if you want. Jonas's single-minded obsession with a lot of papers.
Due to Jonas's obsession with the papers, I'm going to deliberately completely ignore them for now.
Why must you be this way?
Perfection. I love
Why
it.
must you do this?
He's
to
going
me?
to look at the other one instead.
So
I'm
you
just going to ignore all the papers.
Okay, so you enter a room which is once again very, very empty. And you go into another room which has a little bush growing in it, basically. And...
We found an Audi.
Hey! Hey, Awanawanga! Audi has gone off into the vast distances. Okay, so you walk into this little back room, and there's another broken terminal, and there's a bush growing in it, basically. But again, it's hard to really tell. This room actually smells quite nice. It doesn't smell bad. The other rooms have smelled musty and scaly, but then you look up and you realize there's a large gaping hole in the roof. No wonder. You turn around, walk over the papers, specifically not even... You look at them, and then you look up and walk over them. And you walk forwards, and you walk over, and you sit yourself down on the thrown over table, and you look at the little pad, and it's finally booted up. And you look at your wrist mounted compad, and you basically start to try and interface with it. And you see what information you can find. Basically, you end up with a large cache of encrypted data. It's probably going to take a little while to crack it, and you might need to plug it into your ship's computers.
Audi,
Ode!
you're required.
Ode, your assistance is required.
Right,
5
now
minutes
I will
out,
go
I'm
look
sure
at the
gonna throw up
papers.
soon.
And now you look at papers. Do you want to do this first? Yeah, you want to do this first. Okay, so you go to the papers, and they're old, browned, and frayed, and there's very little that you can make out of them. One of them is basically got like almost a handwritten note on it, and it's some sort of it's like a Neo-Terran or something, but it's difficult to really tell because it's very old and it's water damaged, and it's kind of bad handwriting. But you kind of try to read it, and effectively it's kind of a crew log, but it's also you think it's a crew log at first, but then you end up realizing it's probably a log for a squad or some group of infantry or something, because it's got ranks and it's got person and this and this. I'll write down the names for you just now, but I haven't actually prepared that note because I completely forgot to. So I'll get to that in a moment. We'll
Well,
get to
for
that.
now,
That's fair.
I'll just take the big stack of papers as carefully as I can.
Okay, you carefully take them and you put them into your backpack very carefully. So they're all fine. So they're all
I'll
gone.
just add old papers to my equipment for now.
Yeah, add old R021 papers, because this is retreat point 021. Okay, Jonas, you wanted to talk to her, or did she
Yeah,
want to talk to you?
I
can't
wanted to
remember.
ask her if she's been through and checked the front.
She says she hasn't tried. She kind of looks over to it and says she hasn't tried, really.
Well, shall we then?
Shall we? Shall we? You're free to.
Shall we?
You march up to this. Well, you don't march up. You walk up to this big door, and it's very heavy duty. It's probably the bridge on the other side. You kind of like try to leverage it. It doesn't really move. Probably gonna
Any
have to give it a
data
heavy
pads?
smack. No data pads. Again, much like the other one, much like the airlock access door, you can see where there would have been a control console, but it's gone, and there's just empty
I
wires
just-
hanging in place.
I just look like, stand here, think for a second, look up, look to her, look back off, and look at her and ask, would you mind?
Alex, would you like to get out of the way quickly?
Please get out of the way.
Alex quickly gets out of the way. She turns, she looks at the door, she stands up and she goes, all right, fine, sure. And she takes both of her hands, puts them together, and like does like a you know the what's it called from Dragon Ball Z? She does like that thing with like the wakadush, and just the door gets caved in. Kabah! It's just not obliterated, but it's just and split in two basically. Even though it still is one, it's split in two. Don't worry. It buckles open. And she sits back down and starts musing the inscribings on everywhere again.
Audie, we might want you up here.
There's a relatively untouched control console. Relatively untouched. It is a bit scuffed and buggered, but it probably doesn't have power. But
I was about to say, is there a power button?
there is no power button.
Damn it.
But it's probably fine. You might.
Audie just comes sprinting in.
I got it.
Question regarding that.
Yes.
With older tech, is it like tech in the real world, where it's a case of the older it is, the less power it tends to require in a lot of cases?
Yes, it can be.
So
like that.
would we be able to power this even temporarily off stuff we have now, or would we need to take it back to our ship?
Super busy. Get the car.
You might be able to
a long
use.
extension cord.
Yes, you might be able to. Yes, Alex, go.
You do realize your phone is some thousands of times stronger than computer-sized rooms that we had before that used like kilowatts of power.
Yeah,
right?
kilowatts of power. Yes, absolutely.
No, I know.
Yeah, we use less energy now in electronics than before.
Yeah,
We
'cause it's
improve,
all-
not decrease.
I think it depends what you're powering.
But it's all gotten far more effective, basically.
Yep.
We've
Anyway-
gotten more powerful and more effective.
Anyway, I was basically agreeing with you, Super Busy, just to get to that point where you realize, oh yeah, I could probably try and power it with the car. I was just agreeing with you for that point, so you would realize you could probably try and use the car.
Well,
So you
no.
can go ahead and try and use the car.
That was the point I was trying to make, but
Exactly.
I know
And I understood it.
I need to hit the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, go for it, Jonas. I need to drink water. Where the hell is my water cup? I still need to track down this bloody cockroach.
The cockroach took your water, didn't he?
Yes, he took it and ran away.
Would it be me driving the car, or is someone else going to bring it?
You got anyone with a license?
Okay, that's interesting. Actually,
I'm
yes.
the only one who-
Myron's not here to be able to drive it, so you want anyone who can drive it.
I'm a space pilot. This will not
Close
go well.
enough.
I'm pretty sure you can all drive a car. I think it's fine.
But I'm here too late. I can't go back and get it.
Anyway, you go and you grab the car, and then you just need to kind of figure out how you're going to wire it through. I guess you just have some extension cord in your car anyway, but you might not be able to reach from here. You're
Link
gonna
arms. We'll have to go for ourselves.
you're gonna have to engineer a solution there.
Isn't
any
the
ideas?
top of the place kind of broken down? You could probably just hang it from the ceiling.
Not a bad idea.
The car.
No. He's talking about the wire. Think about it.
The bridge is quite intact, Lap said.
Yes. So the bridge ceiling is fine, but the ceiling in the hub room you could probably like drive the car alongside and then throw the wire over the top and then feed it through the roof and then get it to the thing. Might work. Not a bad idea.
Well, Byron might have found a
My
solution.
first
He's
good
got,
idea.
he's got 13.
Oh, you back, Jonas?
Not Byron, super busy.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, power, and you could probably use the car to power it. Yes. So you go, pardon me, and you grab the car, wherever it is, if I can kindly just grab it, and then put it to proper scale.
So small.
It's so small. So you drive it up, and you realize your extension cord is probably not going to reach from here. But, you can try anyway, I guess. Or you could try and decouple its small reactor. It's always an option.
I'll just grab some leaves and somehow get current to flow through them.
Please don't.
Just do it.
You just need metal, and there's plenty of metal around us.
So Super Busy, you inspect the console, and you're kind of hoping that maybe you can find its hard drive or maybe its data storage
No,
structure.
but this was to hook up the power of this roll.
Okay. Well, either way, you look at the thing to see if you can maybe pull something out of it instead of bringing the power to it. Maybe you could bring it to the power.
Well, we learn ancient expanse era knowledge that no one else in the universe knows.
It's probably recorded plenty of other places.
So yeah. So anyway, you guys, you get the car. You have a very long extension lead.
Find the location of Earth.
So you take the car, the power, and you run it through the run it through the ship around the girl. She kind of looks at you like, "What are you doing?" And you kind of just go like thumbs up.
Power.
You walk past her, you plug it into the system, and you kind of like have to, and you kind of just hope that it works. One of the screens flicker to life. Perfect, Oddie. One of the screens flicker to life, but Oddie is such a nutcase that he knows exactly what sort of mad computer shortcuts he needs to do to try and get stuff onto this one console. And he does some smacking and some typing and some crazy stuff, and he kind of knows what he's doing, even though this is relatively old tech. He figures it out, and he basically pulls up a little navigational chart of some description. But it's a navigational chart that's been completely covered and graffitied by information. Also, by the way, graffitied on the front of the bridge. Sorry, this is pretty important. My apologies. Graffitied on the front of the bridge is what the hell does it say? If I can go find it quickly. It's Donnell remembers. Just kind of like graffitied over the front of the bridge in like 3 places. Donnell remembers. Very, very odd.
Spell that out.
Dannell. Donnell remembers.
Maybe we should try to ask her about this information. Maybe she will understand what this is.
You're free to try.
Well, yeah, I find it half unlikely considering she she got here 4 hours ago. But it's possible, of course.
You're
She
free
might
to
have some
ask.
other connections.
You're free to ask. If you want to ask,
Go ahead and ask her.
go for it, Alex.
Okay, I am just relaying whatever data is showing up on the screen to her.
Yeah. So first of all, you motion to her. Danelle remembers, which is graffitied on the bridge's wall. The actual like physical bridge wall is actually graffitied on, and then you relay to her the weirdly messed up star graph or whatever it is on the computer screen. I like your optimistic trust in everyone, Jonas. Good old super busy. So okay, you relay to her the information of the star graph, and she goes, "What?" And she kind of starts to walk towards you, but as she gets towards you, she realizes that she's magnetically repulsing you and the steel wall around you, so she can't physically come any closer. This is, of course,
Not turn that tech off.
she might not want to, and so she kind of just stands there and goes, "Okay, Alex, yeah,
I throw away my guns to the wall over there.
okay." So you throw your guns down, and she smiles at you. But the problem is the other three guys in there still. So she's not entirely intrigued. But she basically takes her hands and motions to the wall and like caves it in slightly. And you can step to the side if you want to, Alex. But she kind of caves the wall over to one side and moves all the metal about. And she basically walks into the room. And you're all repulsed a little bit. She walks into the room.
I tell her not to get close or she's going to screw the screen up.
Oh no, you're right. She doesn't realize. As she gets closer, she realizes a bit too late that she's physically, magnetically, impacting the machinery, and it all gets a little bit bent. And she stops and she stands back and she kind of like squints her eyes. Her little roller droid has come with her, by the way, and it goes up to the screen. It like pops out its little legs and it extends itself, and it
Actually, shit, interesting.
and it starts scanning. It starts scanning the screen data with little laser lines, well, that you can see. And she stands there
Actually,
and she's very deep in thought, and she also looks up and she reads the graffiti.
Both the floor and the droid aren't affected, quite evidently, by her mag field, which is intriguing. The droid.
I mean, it does seem like she can direct
surely work
it.
against her. Well, I'm digging a tunnel. See you in a few minutes.
Sorry, Alex. Alex, you were saying?
It does seem like she can direct it. It's probably made so that the bubble doesn't extend downwards, unless she wants to.
Yeah.
But the droid specifically being able to ignore it is what I.
Well, it's Starglow tech. It's probably has magnetic.
Yeah, if it is actually Starglow tech, then yeah, fair enough.
Oh, I love it. Alex very quickly catching on to this. He's like, it's just probably this. It's like, yeah, he's right. So okay, the little ball goes up and it starts scanning the screen. As the ball goes, so the little droid the roller droid is there and it's scanning the screen. And she's kind of standing there and she's not really saying anything. She's kind of looking at it. And she turns around and she kind of looks down the length of the ship.
Out at the car.
Oh yes, and she sees
Maybe
follows.
looking at the map.
Sorry.
On the floor. Maybe she is looking at the map at the floor.
Oh, all the engravings and things. Yeah, she's kind of looks and she walks out and she stops and she looks at all of the star things and she looks on a little data pad on her arm and it's evident that the little droid is routing information to her arm. She's kind of looking at it and she's looking at it. And she seems quite inconclusive in her face. She's looking a bit interested but a bit confused. Yeah. Either way, Super Busy takes the moment to walk up to the droid and kind of look at it. And it doesn't have a magnetic field. It's not magnetically repulsive to him. So he kind of just goes right up to it and looks at the screen again, trying to figure out what this is. It's a jumble of sort of weird information. It's just kind of colors and symbols and things. It doesn't actually mean anything at easy or first inspection. you'd probably have to get a copy of it, which seems to be what this little droid is busy doing. Okay.
Is it possible to ask her if there's any way we can help her with this data?
Yeah, you can ask her.
Yeah, then I
You ask.
do so. Is there what's the missing piece or something like that? How can I help?
She looks at the walls and the roof, and then looks down to you, and she says, I've been tracking the star glow through this zone, and well, okay, she says star glow, and you think that perhaps she might have been thinking that your Rebel Battalion people are the star glow, because she's been talking about things that don't leave a vector trace, which are what the normal VMPs leave, normal FTL, faster than light drives. And she says this. And so she says, yeah, and she says, this is the first time she's found something like this. And this is also the last place that she saw a star glow signal. And she says, she doesn't know what she's missing. That's the problem. She's hoping that maybe this is some sort of map or backup information route to something, that perhaps she can use it to find wherever the starglow are going in this zone.
If you don't mind my asking, how do you know it's Starglow?
She looks to you and she says, well, of course it's starglow. And she basically doesn't really say much more than that, but she basically says that she's been tracking and she's seen starglow ships, or at least that she thinks
What's
it's starglow.
suspicious is that she has Starglow technology.
Well, you think it's starglow technology.
What we out of character think is Starglow.
Yes.
So, not necessarily suspicious. And honestly, I'm not actually sure if it is Starglow. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's advanced.
Yeah, it's advanced, clearly, but I haven't
She's
messed
not
with
just a civilian.
that much. This is true, yeah. She's almost certainly not just a civvy.
She says, she basically stands and she kind of sighs and she says, well, I guess I better just tell you it all then. And she turns to you and she looks at you. And she kind of snaps her fingers and a little roller droid goes back down to its legs and rolls over to her, as it's designed to. It rolls and it stops and then it extends its legs and kind of stands next to her. And she says, basically the long and short of it is that she says she's a free roam mercenary. And she's been hunting down the starglow in this sector because people have been going missing. And people haven't just been going missing, people have been returning and been very strange. People have been going missing in certain stations, in certain backwater towns and cities and colonies, and different stations. And she's been hunting them down all across this entire Locell, and this is the final zone. And she thinks that, and based on like her signals and other things, there's been a lot of this non-vectored traffic, which she is somehow able to detect. She doesn't explain how, but she basically says that she can detect it.
With a magnet attack, I wouldn't be surprised if she's following that sort of work.
Yeah, but
That somehow works. I'm not sure though.
So that interestingly removes Rebel Battalion activity, because your gravitic propulsion drives don't leave a vector trace, a magnetic vector trace. So that's interesting. So she says this, and she basically says that she's been hunting the starglow, and this is the last place she got. So as I've told you 50 times, this is the last place she got a signal, and she came in here about 5 or 4 hours ago, and she found these symbols, and she kind of tried to look through the ship. But as she was doing so, unfortunately, her magnets did a little fluctuation. She ended up getting stabbed by some steel at one point. So she gave up basically and came back to the middle room, sat down, and pardon me, for the last 2 or so hours has been trying to see if this weird symbolism carved into the walls and roof had meant anything. Now, of course, Super Busy found a data pad stashed inside of a panel, which had this same emblemage on it. Now, you might not want to tell her that, but maybe you do, just to remind you that you do have that information. There might be other.
Was there any other info on that tablet, or was it just that?
It's all encrypted, and for now, I'm keeping apart from our team, I'm keeping that information to myself.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fair. If you don't want me telling her, that's up to you. I'm okay either way.
So I'd like to get my hands on that.
You'll get your hands on it once you're done.
To be fair, we could most likely just copy it
Maybe.
to her.
I mean, you
For
can.
now, I'd rather not, because I don't know what her intentions are.
You
This
can
is
actually copy the data off of it. That is possible, by the way.
Yeah.
You can just copy the data, but it's still encrypted. But you can leave a copy of it on the pad itself.
But
Why didn't you get her number then, Jonas?
Yeah, but you could actually just get a number.
to be fair, if she's free roam, she's got nothing to lose from telling the LSN about us. She's probably in
Potentially.
fact gonna gain some stuff
Maybe.
off it, money, that sort of work. So, us giving her some extra info is probably gonna help keep her happy and her not telling the LSN about us.
So we need to make a contract with her.
That's what I'm thinking.
Hey, she's free roam. You could definitely make a contract.
Yeah.
That's very
She's free
doable.
roam.
That's
We
very
could
doable.
definitely
But
write a contract.
it's a case of it's extra information, but if she doesn't know we have it,
Yeah.
then why would she take offence at us not giving it to her?
No. It's
I-
what is.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, Jonas, explain.
I think I know what you're saying. It's more a case of, but
So,
for
it's-
me, it's
yeah.
the case of she has no reason not to tell the LSN we're here.
We're
You know?
basically buying a silence.
Yeah, if we give her the info, that can basically work as us just buying her silence. You know, that's the way I see it.
Super busy. Do you want to give me one more medical roll with charisma? And actually, give me a perception with charisma again. Give me a perception with charisma.
both or just one of them?
Just one. Just one. Whichever one you think. Go perception charisma. That's fine.
I'll give you both, and you can make.
Okay. Yes. Give me both. That's actually perfect.
Because my medical does actually have a modifier, so.
Okay. 9.
Perception, not persuasion.
Oh yeah. Please. Perception, not persuade.
Yeah, no, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, don't worry, it happens.
Yeah. It's fine. So you look at her body language and how she's been. I'm gonna wait for the second one, but I'll start because you got a nice tech medical roll. And with your medical background, you are relatively familiar with what people look like when they are relaxed and when they aren't, and in a sense when they're putting on a show. And based on the way she was acting originally and the way she's acting now, it would seem that perhaps she was putting on a dumb blonde act the entire time. It would almost seem like she was trying to be a bit out of it and a bit strange just to see what you guys would do. But now she seems to have broken the mold and she's acting a lot more, shall we say, professional. A lot more with it and a lot more awake. Maybe that's the case, but that's what you think is going on based on kind of just the way that she's sort of changed, the way that she's acting, basically. Are you going to give me the perception charisma?
I did.
Oh, I can't see it.
I haven't seen it.
I don't see
Neither
it.
do I.
Kadoa! Enter.
The very heavy hit on the enter.
Mm.
Still hasn't shown.
Yeah, I still can't see it. Just try and reload the page. Do you see it? What does it say for you?
My boob seems to have shown.
No, it's got an 8. It was a 5 and a 5. But
An 8. Are you?
1 second.
That's fine.
Just to prove I'm not lying.
That's fine. I'll believe you.
No,
Hey.
there's a 7.
It's fine. It's good enough.
Immediately shown up.
Yeah, so perception charisma. Jonas, you want to actually give me a perception charisma as well, since you are after all the leader with all the charisma and all the stuff.
Perception.
Yeah, perception charisma. just to see with both of you what you think of her in terms of the way she's been acting. A 10, beautiful. So Jonas is very well versed with the way people talk and the way people act, because he's received, obviously, negotiation and diplomacy
It's
training,
almost
all those
like
other
I have a
things.
+2 in my perception.
Hey.
I don't actually have any pluses to my charisma. It's a 13, sadly.
You're not wrong.
I only have
Um,
1 + 1, so it's like, okay.
So both of you look at her, and you both technically come to the same conclusion. That it would seem that she's no longer putting on an act for you anymore. She's very with it. And the way she's looking through the room and the way she's been talking to you, very alert, very coherent. And you have a feeling that, yes, she's not insane. She's definitely not insane. And she's definitely got herself together. And so it would also seem that she's telling the truth, relatively speaking, from what you can tell. That she's telling you about, that she's been hunting the Starglow. And that she's been effectively, narrowed it down to here and yada, yada, yada. You know the whole story.
Does
So-
she look like the kind of person that would end up betraying us or not? In a sense.
You can't really tell.
The
There's
annoying
no
part is,
easy way to
with the
tell.
free roam, it can go either way. You either have the people who are stupidly loyal, like no matter what happens, if you pay them or get them a contract, more or less, they're not going to do anything betraying ever.
Yeah.
And then you also have the people who are the polar opposite. You can pay them however much, and they like 5 seconds later turn around and stab you in the face.
Yeah, so the free roam have this spectrum of reliable people, and so it's very difficult to tell. But from the way she holds herself, she seems to be somewhat respectable.
Yeah, and
Because she-
from the fact
you know.
that she's clearly successful,
Yeah.
the ship, the tech, she's quite evidently successful.
Yeah.
I get the distinct feeling she's either a surprisingly successful one of the second variant, the stab your face variant, or she's the first variant.
Mm.
Because the second variant don't tend to last long. Because at some point they stab someone who they stab the wrong type of person.
Yeah, and
or cry.
And Kelly Sonar gets very angry when Rebel Battalion, when free roam people like that exist, and she often hunts them down herself. So they don't last all too long. But
Yeah.
yes, there are some of them. But
I mean,
generally,
let's just
more of the
take
first.
let's just, I don't know, take a look at one particular free roam squad. Men.
So you feel like you can trust her, and you feel like she's somewhat reliable, maybe, but it's very difficult to tell. You can tell that the way she's been talking all about this, she talks it very fluently. She's either very good at lying or she's telling the truth. And I'm saying very good at lying, because she goes fluently, she talks all about it in quite significant detail. And she basically tells you that her little ship is outside, pretty much, and that, after
know.
she's taken all this information, yeah, well, she basically confirms it, and whatever. So, she,
I mean,
she
her
says,
swiping it and then Audie immediately calling in like, I just got knocked the fuck out. Confirmed it too. I was like, okay, yeah.
So do you guys want to give her the pad or not really? Or do you want to...
If I can get away with not doing it, I won't. But
You can take a copy of it. So you have a copy of it, so
Yeah,
you won't
I was
lose
gonna say,
anything. But
I was
yes.
gonna say I would like to give her a copy,
Hmm.
personally. Because that may well straight up end up getting us an ally in this.
Not a bad idea.
If we help her out with this kind of stuff, I would not be surprised if she ends up helping us out. Not
Especially if we have to go against the Starglow at some point.
Yeah. if we end up.
before we do
fighting-
anything, I would want to go and ask Oddie character a question, but away from her,
Okay, yeah, you can do that. That's fine.
because
Well,
I'm
that's that
bad
way.
with computers.
Yeah.
It's a case of, I'll show him the encrypted data from what I can see, and effectively ask, is there any way that I could split this so I'm giving her some of it but not all of it?
Ah, interesting idea.
Oh, I'm sure we have an logbook put on the vehicle. If you come over here, we can have to see if we can find it on there quickly.
Okay,
Won't be
so
half us. Yeah.
So, do you want to effectively take a copy of the data and like cut it in half, basically, and give her that half, so that she doesn't have the complete picture, but she only has half of it?
You need
It's
to-
more a case of, because of the encryption, would it be very blatantly obvious we'd removed part of it?
Because of the age of the ship, she might assume that it's damaged. She would have no way of knowing if the data is complete or not by itself. If you give her the pad, then she'll be even more believable in a sense.
Actually, yeah, this is from the pad up top, right?
Yeah, it's from the north pad, the old pad, the star
Okay,
map
yeah.
pad, which you've taken a copy of.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that might work. Because if it was from the terminal up in the front, her bot got that stuff, so that wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. The front stuff is
we
taken.
couldn't we couldn't cheat her out of that one if we wanted to do it that way.
Yeah. So what? So super busy. The decision is yours.
Yeah.
What do you want to ask Artie to do?
Well, in terms of copying, I can do that bit. Would Oddie be able to do anything in terms of just even decrypting a tiny bit of it so it can see what it actually might contain?
He can try. Artie, give me a computer's roll.
Done that.
Oh wow, 7. Oof. Okay. Not really great for this one.
I was gonna say I was assuming that roll was for other things, but yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit.
No,
Give me-
say that as copying if you really want.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. So 7. Give me one more just for luck, Artie. But so 7. But I'll take 7 as the one anyway. So actually, just don't bother. Give me one more. Give me one.
Bothering.
10. You're my yoy. Okay. You know what? I should have said nothing. Okay. So 7 would have been not enough. 10 is actually spot on the money. For kind of what I expect this to be difficult. 7 would actually have probably been fine. But anyway, I was being stingy. So okay. So you look at this and you can tell that it's probably the way it's encrypted. It might take you a few days to decrypt all of it, maybe even a week. But it's not that excruciatingly tough. You can decrypt a little bit of it yourself now, maybe. And so you try and you see what you can do, and while they're all talking inside of there, you're listening in over your radio, but you and Super Busy are there trying to crack this thing quickly, because you need to decide whether you need to give it or not, blah, blah, blah. So you work away on it quickly, and you can't really make any headway, but you get a segment of, you decrypt like 1% of it, and you get something that looks like a planetary hash string. It looks like the beginning of a planetary hash string. So this is probably a coordinate. This datapad probably holds coordinates amongst other things, but it's only a tiny segment of the total encrypted data. And this is the sort of...
We're definitely keeping this bit, some of this.
Yeah.
Hopefully all of it.
I mean, we're gonna be able to keep all of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're keeping all of it, but it's the decision of...
This is aimed at Jonas / Lap. Is
Yeah.
there any way we could do it where we say we will stay in contact, we have found something, but we want to see what it is before?
Ooh, interesting. That's going to be a bit of a diplomacy role there. If Alex.
I'm just asking Jonas as to whether he thinks it's a good idea as our leader.
Well, we should
Okay.
still ask for a number, but
Yeah, you can do that anyway.
Yeah.
Alex, first of all, Alex, what did you want to say? What do you want to say, Alex?
Yeah, I did also want to ask about something similar. Maybe we can report if we see anything star glow like or anything, so we can kind of just keep the contact.
Yeah, basically
okay.
we'll keep in touch.
Yeah,
If we see anything,
yeah. You'll
we'll keep
get
in touch.
you'll get
If you need any assistance with it, give us a ping. Basically,
Are you saying this to her now? Or...
I'm thinking about saying that.
Okay, that's
No.
fine.
I will agree on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
Basically
think we all
saying,
agree.
Yeah.
you know, like if you need guns and a hand, and maybe in some investigating and such,
Yeah.
you can ping us.
Yeah. Abstruse, are
Super
you there?
busy. Super busy. How does that sound to you?
Nothing
Sorry.
really for me to do. I'm just a useless one on this mission.
Shame. It's all right, Abstruse. This is a talking and thinking mission, so you need to think and talk. Otherwise, no one has really much of excessive use.
All I could really do is search, which I could probably do better than Audie, to be honest. But
Well, you could definitely help him. I mean, it's not like he's doing it right now. But anyway, so you can go search through the ship if you'd like. Give me perception checks in some rooms if you think there might be something in there. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, search the outside, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
this
Go.
evacuation vessel.
Yeah. I get you. Okay, give me some
Yeah,
perception checks and I'll get back to you. Jonas.
Yeah, super busy. What do you think on that one? Basically, keep in touch. We'll keep in touch.
I mean, give me some perception check.
Yeah. Give me like a wisdom perception check. Go on, guys.
My current
Me?
thought is, say we have found something, but it is encrypted, so we're going to decrypt it first to see if it's anything at all useful, and then if it is, we will send it to her.
I do have a feeling that won't work since it looks like she might have more computing resources than we have.
Maybe. Or she
Well,
definitely.
she only has. To be fair, she only has a one-man ship. So even if it might be
But
more
she has
advanced,
an AI.
Perception whiz. Okay, Abstruse, I'll get to you in a second.
what did you say?
She has an AI that's probably a lot more familiar with the decryption than we are.
That's an interesting guess.
I wouldn't say she has an AI. Where do you get that from?
How does the robot work, for instance?
Yeah, he's assuming the little robot.
Robot.
It
I
might
thought
not
that was
be
just a data
advanced,
storage
but it's
cube,
better
effectively.
than we got.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the robot could full well just be like a VI, just drone to set, follow some pretty simple orders for her.
Yeah, I mean she
But
could
either way,
snap things.
Either way, I don't really agree with she's busy. Not if telling her that we got something, she'll probably definitely want to have a look at it.
I
Encrypted or not.
kind of agree on that one.
Well, for now, just don't say anything. Stay in touch, and if we find anything useful, we can send it to her.
Not a bad idea. In a
We
sense.
found
don't
this on
even
the
need
way
to-
back to
we-
our ship.
Yeah, or not that. Just say, yeah, we found this somewhere off. Like we found this intel here. Here you go. Basically. So yeah, I'll basically just go. Alright, well, we're gonna head out. We got some extra work to do, and we'll keep in touch. Tell you if we find anything. If you need any help with anything, give us a ping, and
Okay.
just throw her our.
Your Vade link. Noids are for localized communication. Vades are for like long range verified communication. It's like it's the difference between like shouting in your backyard versus sending someone an email. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, Noids are a little less. Noids anyone can accept. Vades are very specific. So yeah, so you give her your Vade. So you're gonna say this.
Yeah.
Okay. So you tell her that you'll keep in touch, basically. So
I don't tell her anything about the information or
Yes.
anything like that.
Yeah, very very critical, very critical. So you tell her that basically you would like to help her. Well, Alex probably adds that bit in, and you say, here's our Vade ID, and she goes, okay, interesting, and she gives you her Vade ID. Her Vade ID looks a little odd. It doesn't look like a normal Vade ID. It looks a little bit scuffy. You might, yeah, it's interesting. It's a little bit non-standard. I'll put it that way.
Probably bounces from stuff.
Maybe.
Thing.
Your Vade ID is also a little non-standard, but hers is even more so. Probably free roam stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, more cryptid and probably bounces between some other towers or other raids or whatever.
Yeah. As you sit there, her little ball opens up at the top and starts projecting a hologram again. She enters in the Vade ID, you assume is what she's doing, while you literally just send her the data, and she accepts it, basically. And then she moves her hands across the orb, and you get a little Vade ping on your datacom. And it's this little orange box, and you press it, and it opens like a little message. Basically says, hello, test number 1. And as you go like, excellent, it seems she has your Vade ID, at least.
Yeah. You write one up for her, just goes to test number 2.
Sure, and she also gets, and you can see that a little square on her hologram shows up, and she presses it, test 1, done. So, connection established.
Well, test 2 is what I wrote.
Test 2, sorry, test 2.
Because
Okay,
hers was test 1, mine is test 2.
Reasonable. Okay, so you test that. Alright, abstruse. So, as you're standing outside, Abstruse, what are you doing? Are you walking around looking at the ship, or what are you doing?
I was trying to search for anything else, like
Okay, kind of like on the outside of the ship, or
any
where?
hints for A71.
I see. Okay. So you look at the ground, and there's obviously there's that sign of. So remember when you were first driving here, you saw that the path off the road looked like some of the people had been there before. And you can see those tracks into the ground here. They sort of ended here. But you can also see that they then turned around and went back out. Interesting. So someone came here and then left, and we all probably already know who that was. That was the guy. That was the commander guy, squad leader. But there's no real sign, perhaps. The thing is, the ground at the front of the spaceship is oddly not bashed, it's compressed. You can't very easily tell footprints and other things. It's kind of just bare stone, almost. Even behind it, it's almost just bare stone and compressed dirt, and it's difficult to really tell. You can tell that there have been a few footprints. Maybe it's very difficult to count it because it's kind of a mess. But there's probably more than 3 people that have walked here, excluding yourselves, because you guys kind of went in from the north, so you didn't really go in from the main area. So other people have probably been here. Do you want to look anywhere else, Abstruse? Besides just on the ground.
Where else am I supposed to look? I mean,
Anywhere, up to you. There's the entire
would that
exterior
mean
of the
another
ship.
perception roll?
No, same perception. Well, you can go to the other side of the ship and have a perception roll if you want. You can look anywhere else. Up to you.
I'll look anywhere else then and do another perception roll.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I went down below, right?
yeah. Oddie went to the south, but he went through the forest. He didn't look on the outside of the ship, really.
What do you mean the outside of the ship?
The exterior hull plating. That's very rusted, but
What hints would that give us?
I don't know. I'm just saying. You don't have to do it. Anyway,
I'll
so
look to the north then, form a new perception roll.
okay, you go around to the north, and so you slowly walk along the length of the ship and kind of looking it up and down. Yes, this ship is old, and once again, much like your first perception check, the ship looks very 11 perfection. Just not a 12, but it's an 11. It's amazing. So you look at this, and you can tell that this ship is probably. Funnily enough, it doesn't look like it would have flown on its own.
I wasn't exactly looking at the ship. I was looking to see any traces of A71.
Yes.
We have to find them somewhere.
No, I get you. But you also kind of absent-mindedly see the ship, and it actually looks like it was probably part of a larger ship. The way that these rear structs go out, it looks very unfinished, and it looks almost like it would have connected to a larger ship, just kind of as an amusing idea. But you scout around, and you see more footprints that have gone around the side here, and you kind of walk around, and you follow the footprints, and they end up just circling the entire ship. But as you get to the front of the ship, you notice a piece of plating that's got the same, not a piece of it, but like a segment of the entire side of the ship, which just has the same pattern like on the inside, as the dots and the lines and everything. Interesting. Anyway, so it was also on the outside, weirdly enough. Anyway, anything else you guys want to do?
I think I'll have to roll like a 15 in perception to get any hits.
Well, it's just
that deep wasn't ever turned up here. It never actually got to this point.
Well, like I said, there were a lot of footprints before. Besides you, there are like at least 3 or 4 more, and there's only 2 people that have been here that you already know of. So there's 2 unaccounted for footprints at least, and there might have been more mushed into the weird, what's the word? The mush of footprints, basically.
We don't
Yes,
know
but
how recently this place
LSN could have been here.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't know how recently this place got scavenged.
True.
It could just be civilians scavenging as well.
Maybe. Okay, so, alright. Is there anything else you guys want to do? So you found the data pad, you found the other data pad, you searched the main ship. Oh, do you try to capture some of the data on the screen? Because she's captured it, basically. I guess you guys are going to try and capture it too.
I'd rather take the hard drive.
You don't know where the hard drive is. The wires kind of go off into the depths of the ship. You could probably try and find it. Alex?
Would it not be possible to ask?
Would the hard drive bit be more of a me thing?
It would be an anyone thing. You'd have to rip up the plating and try and find it. Sorry, Alex, what did you want to do? You wanted to ask her to...
Yeah, for the data of the screens.
Oh,
if
sure.
it's possible.
Yeah, you can ask her. Jonas,
What do we have to trade?
do you want to ask her?
We do, after all, want to keep contact and tell her if we find anything Starglow related. So I think
If we-
that's enough.
Yeah, with the extra info from this might actually help us with that finding as well. To be fair.
So what are you going to ask her? You're going to ask her just that? Or...
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so you just...
Just no. Mind if we get a copy of what was on the screens?
Sure. She
Extra info.
looks at you and she says... She, so first of all, she's been looking very attentively at her holographic ball the last couple of minutes. Besides sending you the message and receiving it, it's obviously that she's probably looking through this data that her droid just scanned.
Yeah.
And she kind of hums and haws, and she looks at you and she says, if you find anything interesting, I might just give this to you. And she kind of snaps her fingers, the droid pulls in turns off the holographic projection, closes up, and basically starts rolling out of the ship. And she goes, I'll stay in touch. And she turns and she follows her droid out of the ship.
Okay. So basically, we gotta give her that intel if we want the intel.
Or we could just dig through the ship.
Yeah, we could also just. I mean, as far as we understood it, the droid just copied the intel off it. Right?
Yeah, it basically just took a picture, but it's a very rapidly scrolling, so you'd have to take a lot of pictures. You don't really have a camera, unfortunately, but you could probably try and take some anyway. Whatever.
Couldn't we just connect data tabs though?
Get on it, Alex. Alex just hooks up his...
What I want to do is go to the console after she has left,
Okay.
so that if we reclaim data from this, we can compare and see if she has messed with it when she sends it finally to us,
Ah, clever. Okay. Yeah.
to see if she is hiding something or not.
Mm. Clever. Okay, so you go up to it, you take your compad, and you do the same thing effectively that the droid did. You put it into scanning mode, and you scan the screen as it flashes through information. And you wait there until you think you've got all of it. And once you think you've got all of it, because it seems to have gotten to the point where it looks like it's almost repeating, you stop, you close it down, and you stand back. You seem to have copied the same information that she has, you think.
Okay, and now
Did he
that
I was gonna say, did he stand there about as long as the droid did?
Yes, in fact, he stood there longer, just to make double sure.
Alright, good. Then I'm happy with it.
Cool. Okay, Alex, what else did you want to do?
so now that we have the pictures and we have the data we can get from that,
Yeah.
is it not possible to rip out the hard disk or something, hard drive or something, and see if there is anything hidden kind of in the lines of code?
You can try.
And
Yeah.
We would need to
we'd
dig
have
through the ship, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to
You
find the
know,
hard drive.
would my character have any clue where it might be, or would it somewhere in the ship?
So you kind of look at this ship and you try to rack your brain of what it could be. And much like Abstruse's observation, other people's observation, when they've looked at this ship, it would see that it was originally supposed to be probably just the front section of a much larger ship. And you go, okay, if this is a bridge or some sort of admin section of a ship, where would it probably be? And you kind of hum and haw over the whole thing, and you guess, So you kind of walk through it, and you go up to the console, and you kind of trace the cords, the wires. You and Alex trace them. You pull off some plating with your multi tools, and you kind of follow it. Problem is, it immediately goes into this large junction box of other intricately connecting wires, and some of them are pulled out and ripped, and they all kind of snake off and lead everywhere, and the color of the wires is not consistent. So you kind of pry open the junction box, and the problem is where the wire goes in, it just goes into a giant thing of a big circuit board, and it's very difficult to try and trace where it's going. You think you kind of have a clue. You follow one of the cords through this very cramped, very dark underbelly of the ship, and you see and you find this kind of crate, a steel box basically. It's big. You pry open the front, well, as much as you can in this very cramped little crawl space. Pull it aside, and there's some relatively intact hardware. You're not sure what's what, because unfortunately it just connects into a circuit board, and that kind of feeds wires everywhere, and it's a mess. Whoever designed this ship was a complete nutcase, but regardless of that, because they had no cable management, and nothing makes sense, and nothing's color-coded. So you kind of take your best guess, and you try to pull out a few of these pieces of hardware, which are basically hard drives and SSDs and other things. Well, it's whatever the tech of the day is for storing information. So you pull out a few of these. Add, for my sake, super busy, you try to take out as many as you can. You hand them to Alex. You two seem to have gotten most of everything out of there. But that's pretty much as you're willing to do in that cramped crawl space. Because it's very difficult. You can't see it, and you have no bloody clue if you actually found what you've been looking for. You hope that this is what you wanted. So add one of you. Okay, super busy. Add four downship hard drives to your inventory, and we'll deal with those later.
I mean, once they have checked it, we can just look at the screens again.
Ah, clever. Very clever. So you look at the screens, and it's no longer pulsing. But
is it showing anything?
It's kind of... It's weird. It's kind of showing a background image, probably part of a greater wallpaper, but it doesn't make much sense. It stopped flashing. It stopped transmitting the data, whatever it was, and they're kind of like blocks of black segment, and other stuff has just got random color in it. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Even less sense than the strange, bizarre flashing of symbols that it was previously.
And I guess this had no radar antenna attached to the ship.
Well, none that remains anymore.
So we couldn't just send the information to us.
No, sadly not. But you try and collect as much as you can. I mean, you even just connect your data pad. You pull out the wire, connect it to your data pad, and see what information. You wait for a little while, see what other information you can maybe pick up, and you just have some scraps of information. Make a note of that as well, so busy, that you have some scraps of old ship data information on you. So you see if perhaps you can collect whatever remains based on the last little flickering bits of light on the screen. And then you pretty much call it a day.
Yeah. Now head back to the truck. Question is, do we want to go drop off the extra intel and such at the ship first, or no? Head
Yes,
back
Jonas?
to the truck.
Yeah. So as you're deciding this, Viren calls you. Well, Stephen Growlner calls you on the communication, and he says, "Sir, I can feel a starship coming closer to us." And he's looking at his. So Growlner has the special ability where he can sense, or kind of has somehow he just feels other ships coming closer to him. He's so used to the very feeling of vectorized magnetic propulsion and all these things, he can just feel it coming from a distance.
Does he know sizes? Can he feel sizes?
He thinks it's a small ship, but he doesn't know. He thinks there's a small ship gaining pretty quickly, far off in the distance. And as he says that, you hear a vehicle drive up outside. So, Oddie, you turn and you see this old tractor driving towards you, with this old guy on it. And he looks insane, but so he hops off it. So he's got a rifle on him.
Yeah, and I'm moving out back to the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, where was that?
I did tell
Like,
us to keep out of sight, though.
Okay,
Yeah,
do you wanna...
as I was about to say, that like the instant I get told by Byron that there's I can feel a ship coming, I immediately start heading outside.
Sorry, Abstruse, have you lost your guy? There you go.
Well, I was supposed to go out from the ship.
Yeah, I get you. Well, where are you?
Exploring, so.
Yeah,
You
you're probably...
don't delete your token. No,
you're
still.
probably somewhere over there. Anyway, okay. So, guys, if you want to get into hiding, get into hiding. The girl, by the way, has walked off, and you've actually
And
watched
I'm
her
just
little
trying to
ship.
remind you that she's gone.
Thank you, Oddie. I appreciate. I would have forgotten left her there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be keeping out of sight.
Okay.
at all.
So everyone else. So okay. So explain to me what happens. This old truck drives up. What are you guys going to do before he even sees you? Hopefully.
I'm gonna be telling pretty much the rest of the squad to get out of sight.
I'm already in the open, so I'm
As
screwed.
best, yeah, as like
Oddie,
as
you
best
saw.
you can.
Oddie,
Get out
you.
of,
yeah.
stay out of sight.
Oddie, you. Oddie,
So get in. If you're in the ship, stay in the ship.
yeah. Oddie, you heard him coming. You're already ready.
Exactly. So yeah, super busy. In the airlock, please.
I'm going to stay behind the truck, but I've got my energy rifle out.
Okay. So this. So
and,
sorry.
yeah,
sorry,
and-
chat.
and
Sorry.
Alex, stay. Like, don't be directly in line of sight. So go downwards a bit, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm just going to
not
hide the turn order for a moment. Okay. So.
Don't mind me.
Okay. So this old guy drives up on his tractor thing, and he hops down from it, and he's got like a carbine in his hands. It's like a normal bullet-based rifle, like a slug-based rifle. Kinetic, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, problem with calling it. Okay, so it doesn't matter. But he's got a carbine in his hands, and he walks up to you, and let me go grab him. Give me a second. Here we go. So, a middle-aged man in simple clothing holding a pretty normal carbine in his hands. Hey, you crawlers! Wait, right, I gotta get my accent. Hey, you crawlers! This here farm is private property. You'd better blast off before I've already called the protectorate. Is this your slug? He seems reasonable and level-headed, but he motions towards the large, broken ship as if it's yours. He's like, is this your slug?
Howdy, friend. This ain't ours. We just saw it here and we thought we'd check it out.
He looks at you kind of squint-eyed, and he looks like he gives zero shits. He walks up to you in your fully clad armor with your rifles and everything, and he just looks you up and down. He's holding the carbine. He's just like, all right. Well, guess what? I have a very specific deal with some very specific people. Who exactly are you, and why are you here? And he's got so much attitude in him that
We're just passing through.
I mean, Jesus Christ, if you're mad enough to walk up to people... I mean, I'm holding my Galcion rifle at this point. Like, very clearly Galcion.
Yeah, I'm holding my SMG just to my side.
And he's just got his gun kind of like relaxed, and he's just looking at you as if you're not going to be able to do anything.
I mean, I'm holding my rifle relaxed as well, because, you know, I
okay,
can
fair
pull it
enough.
up.
Fair enough. Okay, so
You just see this little gun with a gaffer taped extra long barrel on it behind the.
so, and Abstruse is over there in the bushes, and Alex is like still looking at the micro VMP. So, this old guy stands there, and he looks you up and down, and he says, "Say, are the roses in springtime this summer?" And you have no clue what he just said, but it sounds like some sort of security password.
Very similar to the one Carmack was talking about.
It's probably same style, probably same people, maybe. Who knows? What do you want to do?
I wasn't there for that, so...
So the long story is that Carmack was the guy that they all got their weapons from, that you all got your equipment from. But then some GCD soldiers followed you because Carmack is a weapons dealer, and they were trying to hunt him
Carmack
down.
rescue mission, here we...
And so basically, they ended up not going and capturing and getting Carmack back in time. They carefully stayed at the back of the building and waited it out. And Carmack got captured, but eventually they got out without having to really do much. Well, they had to shoot a little bit, but they didn't really. Oh, and the mech that ended up seriously wounding the heavily armored enforcer. Anyway, so basically Carmack got captured, but that's not something you guys have to deal with. He's over on Nebula, and there are already Rebel Battalion squads over there to deal with it. But so basically, Carmack asks you a very similar catchphrase, very similar check phrase, which is like, "Are the roses in spring
this?" What the reply was.
Yeah, something like that. Either way, he asked this to you. What are you going to say?
I was gonna say, is this something I would know, code-wise, at all?
Yes, you would have. Just give me I'm not sure what a check would be. Like memory somehow, history. I don't know. What do you think, Jonas? Give me an idea.
Mm.
I want memory.
When I answered to Carmack, he didn't look very pleased.
Yeah. I think.
I also
Mine
said
was very wrong.
Is it a Rebel Battalion
it through.
phrase?
Will most likely be, yes. You're not
I mean,
sure.
Should we all do a memory type thing then?
Yes.
I was gonna say if it's Rebel Battalion, then culture,
Yeah, sure. I mean, culture if you want.
culture RB, probably wisdom, I'd reckon, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but when you as a commander, and all of you actually, would have been given these clearance codes. So you need to see if you can remember them. Oh, a 4. That's terrible. Okay. This has got to be significant because you guys have to remember some really random
Someone
code.
else could roll it.
9. Oh, Jonas gets it. Okay. Oh, Johnny Cotter. No. Who else? Come on, Matatsuki.
I'm
on,
way
Alex.
in the back. What am I?
Oh, fair enough. Never mind. That's fine.
I do
So,
have a radio.
The three of us
There's
are the
only
only ones
three
on the
of us.
front.
oh, sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
I wasn't looking. I'm sorry.
I do have a radio or something, right? Don't I?
Yeah, you do. It's okay. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
but
it.
it's fine. Don't
So you stand there, Jonas, and you rack your brain, and you're like, what the hell? And he's like, so are the roses in spring this summer? And you're like, no, but winter is never green. And he looks at you, and he kind of gets this like little smile and goes, you boys, you should have radioed ahead. I could have gotten a whole welcome wagon out here for you. And he like turns around and like walks over to his truck, puts the rifle down, and like leans on it, very relaxing. He's like, "You Rebel Battalion boys, you got to warn the man before you come to his farm." And he's like motioning with his hands, and he's just insane. But he basically goes, well, you know what, sod it. You guys should have talked to Bartholomew about this. Surely he told you to warn me. Anyway, so you have no clue who Bartholomew is. It's
Yeah,
probably a code name of another guy. You can check it
I
later.
just get the radio and go, yeah, come on out.
And he goes,
Alright, to the truck.
and he says, yeah, well, look, I called the protectorate on you guys. You better scram right now. I'm very sorry about that. And he hops back into his truck and he says, you need anything else from me? He's completely insane or just been isolated a while.
Do you know if there have been any other of our boys through recently?
He basically says, I think deep, he kind of like stutters because he can't really not stutter, but he like holds his voice for a little bit because he can't necessarily remember what the number was, and he goes, 72 or 70 or something, I don't know, 71, who knows.
71?
Yeah, there we go. He goes like, you got it. So, and he goes, yeah, I think those boys radioed ahead a couple of weeks ago or something. They had to lie low for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't ask anything more than that, keeping safe.
Did they get her?
He goes, I don't rightly know, but I think I saw a little ship come in at some point.
Alright.
So it's evident that he owns the farm and he's offering this place a safe haven, but that he doesn't necessarily keep track on it if he's forewarned.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shit. Fuck.
That little protectorate ship is still like over the mountain. Viren hasn't
Yeah,
even
I
picked it
need
up on
to-
close range sensors.
I kind of want to see about 95 as well. The leader 95.
You can ask.
Yeah. As you have any clue on, according to datapad and ship, leader in 95 came through.
95. He looks at you and he's kind of like, he goes very quizzical with his eyes.
According to the pad
95.
at least.
95. And he kind of like goes and he goes, oh, that guy. Yes, the guy was like, he lost his squad or something. So it's evident that 95 went to him, talked to him, but that he didn't necessarily remember all too much of the experience. And he goes, yeah, that guy, I sent him out this way with my tractor, and he came back. I think he went out to town a couple of days ago.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, haven't seen him since though. Hope the bugger's alright.
Well, shit. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna see about... we'll have to see about getting into town
We're
then.
definitely getting a breakout mission at this rate.
Yeah,
At some point, we're
Yeah.
going to do it.
some point.
Most likely, yeah. But thanks for the intel. We'll get back to our ship and scramble.
He gives you a little salute and he goes, "For the Rebel Battalion, anything." And he climbs up onto his little tractor and he just turns around and buggers off. He's just
I'm just standing there like, what even? I don't even right now.
base character in the FCW.
Clearly. Alright.
Nah.
Yeah, I just immediately get on the radio, go, alright, yeah, everybody back to truck right now. Protectorate fighters are scrambling. We
Yeah.
gotta go right fucking now. Move.
Yeah. Protectorate are very protective of their ship, of their planets.
You don't say.
You don't say. World in turmoil. Anyway, so okay, you guys, Alex.
They're usually pretty bad about it though.
I mean, against Feroldas, let's be honest here, no one can be good against a Ferolda. So anyway,
True.
Um,
Except the Crucible.
yes, but that's for later. So, super busy. No, sorry, not super busy. Alex, what do you want? What are you doing over there in the engine room?
I just wanted to see if I could grab this shiny thing, but I guess I don't have time.
No,
Grab
you.
the shiny
I'm
things.
sorry. I'm sorry. You don't have time, Alex. I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
it's basically copper. It's not all too useful to you. That amount.
Copper's really useful.
I mean, look, you're right. You're
It's
right.
hilariously useful.
But,
You won't. But
you
we don't
know-
have time.
I'm trying to make you feel better about the fact you've just had to abandon a giant chunk of copper. I'm sorry.
We had 2 of those.
I know. It's a lot of copper. It's a lot
We
of
might
copper.
be able to come back later, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Anyway, next time you'll know to warn him. Shit,
Yeah.
you didn't ask for his phone number. Damn it. Well, you can deal with that later. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah.
You hop in the
Everybody
vehicle.
in the track. Let's fucking go.
You all hop in the vehicle. Vroom. Oh. Vroom. Vroom.
It's left without us.
Marotsuki hops in, Beertrium hops in, everyone hops in, and join it all as a get this out of the way. It's connected. Advanced group, click, rotate. Wait, oh damn it. Okay, you know what? Just vroom, get out of here. Get the hell out of
Fuck
here.
it, it's fine. This is a mess.
You drive off. You drive off and you race down the little paths and along the whole thing. Eventually, thing is you're going way faster than his tractor. You like pull up beside him and you like give him a little wave and you just zoom on past him.
Ask for his number.
Oh crap! You stop. You put your foot on the brakes. You hop out. You run back to him. You go, "Hey, what's your contact number?" And he basically just gives you his VADE number. And he says, only use it in emergencies. The wife's home more than I am. So he's worried perhaps that his wife will pick up the VADE instead of him. Apparently that'd be a bad
Give him
idea.
a thumbs up.
Just give him a thumbs up.
Like, look down, like, fuck's sake. Give him a thumbs up. Get back in the truck. Go.
You just go. And you zoom up to the ship. Byron's already got the ramp down. You just go right into it. Boom. Closes up. He prepares the VGP, and you just lift off from the ground, and you go into the air. And you're sailing up into the atmosphere, and as you do, you see the white streaks of Protectorate fighters going along the ground far below you. Luckily, they somehow didn't see you. By some fluke of luck, they didn't see you. Otherwise there'd be Galzion raining down on you. But anyway, you're fine. You go up into the sky, and you bugger off of this damn planet, and you go into deep
For now.
solar... Yeah, for now. And you go into deep solar
we'll be
orbit. Oh, my life. Okay. Welcome back. Deep... After that excruciating and exciting adventure. Oddie, where the hell are you? You're still over there. You all hop off the vehicle, hot and bothered, having to run away from Protectorate forces. And you breathe.
Like, the thing is, we could probably have taken the Protectorate for at least a decent chunk of time.
Yeah.
But
Then we get no.
considering there, as I was about to say, considering there are actual LSN on the planet,
Very bad
yeah,
idea.
no, I'd rather not.
Yeah. And yeah, so you guys are now out. Great. And Oddie can go hook up Super Busy can go hook up the terminal to get it decoded. Alex takes a look at the pad. It's about halfway reverted, but it's going very slowly for some reason. He goes and he hooks it up to some of the excess processing and see if he can maybe speed it up.
Excess processing. should
Deliver
speed
all
it
data
up.
to the data processor, please.
All proceeds go strictly to data processing.
All data to the processing.
And
I
it does
repeat,
not leave the
all
room.
data to the processing.
Super Busy goes off and starts doing things, and then Abstruse, sad that he didn't get to hit anyone with his hammer, just kind of stands in cargo and goes, well, we'll get him next time. He just like does a little pep talk to himself, and he walks off with his hammer over his shoulder. Oh yeah. Well done, people. Good. You avoided, well, spoilers. Anyway, so avoided conflict and madness and all the other things that could have happened. Cool. And also, as you sail up out of the planet, you see the little white ship just streak past you. It goes at an insane speed. It's probably got a VMP. You know, she's probably fancy like that. For some reason, she's not scared of being tracked. But then again, she's a one-man ship, so she can. She's free roam. Fair enough. She has all the charisma in the universe. She's not scared.
All the bullshit, right?
All the bullshit. She just zooms
She's
off.
She's probably on the assignment what allows her to go through Ellison territory without being questioned.
Probably. She might even be hired by the LSN. Never mind.
She's tracking Starland, not us, so she wouldn't actually bother reporting us because
Exactly. Well, maybe. But anyway, you never know. So good. Well done, gentlemen. That was your mission. Good. That was nice. And you've all got a nice haul of information, data, and other stuff. You know what happened to Deep 95. Sort of.
I will throw a message about this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Busy has also that pile of papers. Alex has the sample of the paint and the steel and the other things because he wants to make stronger stuff and all the other things.
I was wondering about the age and such of the paint specifically.
Oh right, sorry, yeah, I forgot about that.
Where is it from?
Right. So you start putting it into an analyzer and everything, and you start checking it out. Cool, guys. Wonderful. Great. That was fun.
Did you record 2 laps?
Yeah, I recorded. Of course. Yeah, I always record.
Okay.
It's just that I've wanted to do some editing, so
Labs always records, he just never uploads.
Hey, that is you see, and that's how I have 700 subscribers. How many subscribers? I don't know. That's how I got subscribers. I record and never upload. That's the secret of Laps. I'll have you know.
But
Anyway.
How many subscribers I have? Nobody's going to see the video if it's on my channel.
Oh, shame. Well, you must link it in the video area, and then people will see it.
No one looks at it then either. I checked the statistics.
Oh, well, it's okay. Anyway.
Really, there was nobody views for longer than like 10 minutes.
Oh, well, longer than 10 minutes? What do you mean? 10 minutes is that's a tiny amount of time. Anyway. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Okay, so...
Right, Labs, 782.
Whoa, in the big numbers. To imagine,
crazy.
I started with 0. Everyone starts with 0, that's the joke. Okay. How many subscribers did Rob basically send to me? 500? I don't know.
I mean, I'm sitting on 5 right now after 3 weeks.
Shame shots. Hey man, I got to 100 after like, I don't know how long.
I mean, that's 3 videos in about 3 weeks.
I have 10 subscribers.
Hey!
I have 14.
Audie's
I
like,
had like 34.
whoa. Wow, that's impressive. And I'm sitting here with an excessively large number. Oh, right, I've got
I used to
subscribers.
be,
Oh, shit.
Somewhat a Minecraft YouTuber, but
Oh, I see.
deleted all those videos. Cringe
Whoa.
as flip, yeah.
I mean, when you're young. God, I remember Series 1 of Reassembly. When I was still young and terrified of speaking into the camera in my room with everyone asking themselves, is Luke going insane? To which I would respond,
Yes,
no,
yes.
but the internet is. Hey. Anyway, so, alright guys, could you all just make a list of things I have to write down and deal with, like, the dating of the thing, the decryption of the data pad, the other stuff and the other stuff. Just write it down in like something. I don't know. somewhere. Every
Of a line.
Labs. Holy
3
shit!
paragraph
Really?
essay.
Wait, really? That's a year ago?
What is? What is?
Our glorious fighter duel
Oh yes. I've
with
uploaded
with the most amazing fighter craft.
with the pride of the Rebel Battalion fleet, the Anastasia. Yes, it's
Yep.
you know.
And it's true deep
Yeah.
secret.
It's true deep secret.
I know the secret that Janice, she told me. Remember?
Shh,
Yeah, I
quiet,
know.
quiet. It must be unknown for all the ages. It must never be
So I
revealed.
can defeat it.
It
By the
must
way,
be unknown
did you
for
ever
Labs'
analyze?
honor.
Didn't you analyze the magnetics? Maybe you learned something from that.
It was very difficult. Basically, there was just strong magnets. There wasn't much else you could learn, unless you had like shot her, which would have been a bad decision. But anyway,
And
Yeah.
also
You had like a 12 or 11, didn't you?
yeah, but he was
yeah.
analyzing the hologram and the other tech, so he couldn't really tell what the
You
magnets were
analyzed the
going on about.
magnets first, right?
You can't really. You're not close enough. You know,
Yeah,
you
and
can't like
the
get on them.
secrets- Yeah, and it's
Magnetism is invisible.
Ja,
Yeah.
precis
Should have had a
toch.
15.
You can see the invisible magnet fields.
Poor Jonas.
the secrets. Yeah, the secrets of that ship must be kept for Labs' sense of pride and honor.
Yes, actually, they must be. They must be.
He would
I
be too
would
shamed.
ruin it.
He would be too shamed
Be
otherwise.
far too ashamed. Anyway, so okay. Okay, so guys, if you could kindly jointly write down what I need to deal with, just in this chat, in the Roll20 chat, just write down the one thing for you what I have to deal with during the next week, so I need to
I've added
prepare.
a couple for me.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Everything. Yes, abstruse. Okay, good. So you have this information. You're going to do a lot of information cracking and other stuff. During this time, let me take you to the zone map. You have two options. You can either go contact Wallen, who, if
Well,
we
we
remember,
have more than two.
Suspicious,
To be fair.
Roland. Let's not do it.
more than two?
We can continue investigating A95.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
let's continue investigating 71 and 95 while we're here.
That was
Yeah.
my thought.
yeah, but the problem is you need to still decrypt the other. No, wait. Okay, we'll get to that. Yes, ancient panel information. Yeah, so you guys need to try and track down where the hell 95. So 95 sent you a data link to a ship that, not a ship, something that. What did he link to you? He sent an S. Did he send an S or did he send a B? I can't remember.
What? What?
Unknown datapad. S47 data file attached. S47. So
Oh yes. Yeah. And
S47.
also the
That's just to myself. I need to don't trust Wallen. That's actually a good reminder.
also that.
Thank you, Jonas. Thank you. I would have literally forgotten about that. That's really important. That's really important. That's very important. It is stupidly important. Reassemble. Oh yeah, reassemble fabricators. Analyze blood
Yeah.
from the escape pod room from session 1. Use coolant to try and stabilize my cunt to stop exploding on me. Hey.
I think that last one is probably priority number one there.
That last one is probably priority. I'm trying to clean the blood. Which blood? The blood from the medical room? Yes. Oh, Alex. Okay, Alex is gonna clean up the blood in the medical. I'm standing there. Oh, really? Okay. Let's go clean up the blood in the medical room. It's about time. It's about time the blood in the medical room went bye-bye. There we go. Clean it up. Look. Alex, you wipe it down. So, guys, you have three options. So, okay, number one, that hash, that big string of data that you got the Halon number, you'll decode it and it'll give you some information. Yes?
Yeah, you cut out for a bit.
Oh. No, I was basically saying that, in short, you have a list of objectives that you should now select for me. You can either, one, intend to pursue Deep 95,
That's
or...
my intention.
Okay, great. There's also the other two
Bobbin
options. There's also the other two options of go contact Wallen if you still want to, or go intercept some LSN documents. But you want to still do 95. Can we? Is
Yeah.
everyone okay with that?
95.
Remember that we should strike in different areas frequently, so
Yeah. Well, you haven't really.
Forest won't pick up us up.
True, but you haven't really striked yet,
Struck.
so it's fine.
Anywhere.
Like some protectorate heard about
Well,
some random
Protectorate
guys.
Force is kind of
Yeah, but they don't know.
They
They don't
saw
know who you
nothing.
were. They didn't see it. They were just kind of,
1% detection in that one.
hey. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, worry about that's. It's very good. Remember to strike in different places when
yes.
you have the different options.
I agree
When you're
with
actually
Super
striking
Busy.
LSN. What's Super Busy saying? 3 rolls for trying to improve my gun. Connect the rate ship gun controls rear. Oh yeah. So
Yeah, rear ship guns.
connect the rail ship gun controls rear, and the third one? Oh right, no. So one is for your weapon, the other two are for the guns. Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. We'll do that.
Well, I was assuming.
The 3 rolls for in trying to improve my gun, then I was adding to the list of stuff we needed to do.
Oh, okay.
And it was connect the rear ship gun controls,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I need to just do that.
just to clarify.
Yeah. Johnny Cotter. Oddie, is that to decode the thingy?
That's for the decryption, yeah.
Cool. Okay. So decryption will probably take.
Also, I'm not saying anything now, like, I'm just saying I'm starting it.
I get you.
But yeah, and I do.
Didn't we warn the other deep sticks not to trust Wallen?
You
I
can.
was the only one with this info,
I
right?
was going to say I'm gonna send an official report around that of basically everything we found. 95's probably wiped.
Yeah.
No signs of 71 at no real signs of 71 at the marker, and a couple of other things. I'm not counting don't trust wall and all the stuff,
Good. Okay. Cool. Great.
Or
Okay.
maybe not necessarily don't trust Wallen, but don't trust some of the people Wallen's in touch with.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Good. Astris, what is the other
I
thing
mean,
you
if
remind?
Wallen suddenly loses business, he might get suspicious.
Interesting. Yeah, Wallen will be an interesting character. Don't trust Wallen. S47 data file, resources, finish all things.
Wallen is the false commander.
I disagree strongly. It's more likely that what's his name? Johnson Holdy is going to be the false commander. I'd take Johnson Holdy as the false commander. That'd be great.
God damn it.
It'd be insane. It'd be madness. Okay, so yeah.
What if I turn out to be the false commander?
You'd be actually
Then we'll flirt you right now.
He goes just like, no, done. Oh, great. I love it. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Cool. That's all the things I need to deal with for the next week. Just prepare that. Cool, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Not combat. More of a puzzle than anything else, in a sense. Which
Which is
actually-
always good.
Yeah. Also, it was just a way.
Next, the combat. We haven't had much combat.
Yeah, and that's good. Combat brings deaths.
Combat brings deaths. Combat brings destruction.
At least some good stealth or something.
Stealth is hard to
Guys
do.
have been hiding in bushes waiting for a strike, but there has been no strike.
Yeah, stealth is hard to do in a sense for me, but because not everyone in your squad has stealth, it makes it very difficult.
Yeah.
But we'll have some combat soon, maybe. Well, there's always the option of having combat or not. That's
Yeah,
up to you guys.
Sometimes combat will be inevitable.
Yeah,
But
sometimes.
most of the times
not so
I'm going
much.
to try my absolute hardest to keep us out of combat.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and also it's also some of keeping out of combat will just be being clever and thinking about things and being a bit puzzly about it and trying to figure out what's
Yeah.
happening. So, but anyway,
Not being rude either.
yeah, sometimes you might want to be a little bit rough with people just because
Yeah.
they might be that sort of person, but that's obvious. So anyway, okay, okay, that's cool, guys. Thank you very much. My pleasure. And I'm going to end the recording now. So until next time, data. Until next time, everybody.
Already ended.
Cheerio.
Cornflakes.
Respect.
Aye, aye, aye.